and make your money work harder.
The Harvey Norman Big Sale is now on, with big savings on TVs and home appliances, like the Samsung 49-inch UHD TV for just €499, saving you €350. Or get the Siemens 8kg washing machine with iDose automatic dosing technology for just €555, saving you €144. Incredible savings and easy ways to pay, with up to 18 months interest-free finance terms available. The Harvey Norman Big Sale, in store and online. Don't miss out.
Go! Terms and conditions apply. See harveynorman.ie/finance.
Football Index is reinventing football betting. You can buy and sell the world's top players. Their value may go up and down, but it's not over with the final whistle like a regular bet. Football Index, reinventing football betting.
Start building your portfolio today at footballindex.co.uk or download the app now. New customers only, minimum deposit and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly.
If you're thinking of ordering a new Suzuki 191 model, then get down to your local Suzuki dealership now. I did, and the new Vitara was there, and it was amazing, and it's gonna be all mine. Mine! Okay, deep breath, calm down, you're a professional. There's also dynamic four-wheel drive cars through to super stylish city cars, and they've all got unmissable 191 offers across the range. So, if you haven't visited your local Suzuki dealer, then do it today. Seriously, before everyone else gets them.
Leinster versus Toulouse, live from the RDS.
On Off the Ball.
Thanks to Leia Healthcare, official health and wellbeing partner to Leinster Rugby.
And he's given it. Up goes the arm of the referee and up go the blue flags are on the RDS. And Leinster have that little bit of breathing space that they so badly sought in this second half. And they tap and go with Gibson Park. And he seals one. All the way over the top to Adam Byrne. And his try, bonus point time for the defending champions of the RDS.
Yeah, what a start to the day for the Irish provinces. Leinster 29-13 winners over Toulouse, and they got the bonus point thanks to that late try for Adam Byrne. So they're on top of Pool 1. We'll keep you up to date with everything that's going on. A very busy afternoon in sport. 5 games just underway in the Premier League, including Brighton against Liverpool, which remains scoreless after 3.5 minutes at the Amex. Already today, Declan Rice scored his first ever goal for West Ham United in a 1-0 win over Arsenal. We're sticking and we're maintaining our focus on the rugby though, because it's a huge afternoon ahead for Ulster. They're at home to Racing 92 and Simon Zebo at Kingspan Stadium. Live commentary coming up in around 10 minutes, but our match commentator Oisin Langan has just been talking to the Ulster coach Dan McFarland.
Dan, given what's at stake, are you kind of approaching this game like it's a final?
Well, I think in the Champions Cup, they're all important games. There's not many opportunities to slip up. You certainly don't want to slip up at home. Having said that, we understand the size of the task ahead of us. Racing have a pedigree in this competition, and also a star-studded. So it's going to be a tough ask for us today, but a challenge that we're really looking forward to.
You've a few stars yourselves, but unfortunately one of them is out. John Cooney has been ruled out very late.
Yeah, John's had to pull out. We fitness tested him this morning. Unfortunately for us and for John, he didn't come through. But Dave Shanahan will step up and start. Johnny Stewart will come in on the bench. Dave played out in Paris. He added real tempo to that game, and we were really happy with his game out there. So it's great to have him on board.
How troublesome is it to have to change this late though? How does it disrupt your plans or otherwise?
Not really. We have a system and a way that we want to play. All the guys understand that. We've had I think 47 players play this season so far. A lot of young fellas playing. So really it's about building cohesion. We're certainly not there yet, but the guys would have a good understanding of how we want to play.
Dan, best of luck today.
Thanks very much.
Ulster coach Dan McFarland there talking to Oisin Langan just a few minutes ago. Andy Dunne is going to be our co-commentator up in Belfast. Andy, how big a blow is that, losing John Cooney?
I think it's a huge blow. It's interesting to hear Dan putting a silver lining on it, and he's delighted to have his second choice involved. He'll add tempo to the game, but in reality I think it's a huge kick in the guts for the Ulster side coming into this game.
Ulster could technically lose this game and still progress as one of the best runners up, but really you feel this is a game that they're going to be going out all guns blazing. Even with all that talent of Racing, you feel for their season, for momentum, that they need a seismic victory like this.
Yeah, and there's a real sense of atmosphere and occasion in the ground here. It's full. There's 10 minutes to kick off. The Ulster side are doing a lap around the field just to finish their warm-up, and they're getting huge support. There's great anticipation.
We mentioned earlier the first meeting between the sides this season, which Racing won, but just what a sensational game it was, and the amount of offloads and the attacking rugby. And you look at that Racing backline again today: Brice Dulin, Simon Zebo, Vakatawa, Shavansi, Imhoff, Finn Russell, Maxime Machineau. It's sensational.
It is. It's some outrageous talent on view, but I also love the fact that they've been given license to express their talent, and that's the type of thing that Simon Zebo adores about playing in Racing 92. It's off script. There's a freedom to it, and there's a willingness to embrace risk and look to offload at any given opportunity. They tend to attack from very deep, which breaks the game up, but so too do Ulster. And I think Dan McFarlane's approach as a coach in his first year ought to be applauded, because it's very easy for him to come in and try and be safe, and he's done the opposite. He's asked his side to be attacking, to play with a sense of adventure, and it makes for a really exciting prospect today.
That willingness to take risk, I think that's a line you used in relation to Finn Russell in particular before even last year's Six Nations with Scotland. A lot of people are sort of split down the middle on Russell as an out half, but I think you're a big fan.
Well, I'm a big fan of players who have a sense of adventure. I mean, it makes for interesting viewing. You know, we're all too used to robots in professional sport, whether it's in terms of how they speak to the media or how they even play, and to see a maverick out there makes it very interesting. I suppose the criticisms of Finn Russell are fair in terms of his lack of ability to control games, the lack of silverware that his teams have won as a quarterback. However, he is electric and he is so dangerous, and you know, I think it was in the home game in Paris where he chipped in front of his own post and they scored at the other end, so worth the entry fee.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to then. We are just under 10 minutes away from kickoff there. We've had the first goal of the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Let's go to Turf Moor. Burnley against Fulham. Adam Drury.
Burnley 0, Fulham 1, and Andre Schürrle has put the Cottagers ahead inside 2 minutes. It came about as a long ball was played forward by Dennis Adoy. It was brought down by Schürrle inside the box, and he tried the half volley which looped over Tom Heaton and went in off the crossbar. Great start for the Cottagers. It's Burnley 0, Fulham 1.
Alright, so Burnley 1-0 down early on in that game. Still scoreless between Brighton and Liverpool. Quick break and then we're back for full commentary of Ulster against Racing.
Ulster versus Racing 92. Live from Kingspan Stadium.
On Off the Ball. The Picture Show.
John C. Reilly and Steve Coogan, the stars of the comedy biopic Stan and Ollie, will be joining us with the movie's director John S. Baird on The Picture Show this week. We'll also be reviewing the riveting political drama The Front Runner, The Upside, and the Keira Knightley film Colette.
The Picture Show.
With me, Philip Malloy, at 6 on Saturday.
On News Talk.
The Ryanair seat sale is here. Get up to €30 off return flights on over 1 million seats. Visit Ryanair.com and choose from over 200 amazing destinations. Ryanair. Low fares made simple. Limited availability. See Ryanair.com.
You don't have to be a genius to find the best deals in tiles, bathrooms and wood. Just get to TileStyle for up to 50% off tiles, 25% off bathrooms and stone, plus massive reductions on wood flooring. TileStyle, Ballymount Retail Centre, Ireland's leading tile, bathroom and wood flooring showroom. See tilestyle.ie. Terms and conditions apply.
At Centra, we have great offers in store, like Fairy Non-Bioliquid 57-watt 2 litre only €8. In our better than half price sale, Centra Diced Beef 410 gram was €4, now €1.95. And Innocent Smoothies just for kids 4-pack was $3.99, now $1.98 each. Centra, live every day.
The world has changed. How we play is less this and more this. It's about time finance changed too. At Linked Finance, we're revolutionising the way lending works for Irish SMEs. With game-changing business loans, online, fast and very straightforward, it's real people lending to local businesses at very attractive rates. This is business lending for a digital age from Ireland's leading peer-to-peer lending company. Apply now or find out more at linkedfinance.com.
With Virgin Media, you can build up the entertainment and tear down the price. Switch to Virgin Media today and get superfast broadband and TV for just €49 a month for an awesome 12 months. The sale that stacks up. Now on. See virginmedia.ie and check out how our mobile sales stacks up too.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. 12-month contract. Offer ends 27th of February 2019.
New year, new laptop. The Curry's PC World sale is now on with the largest range of home appliances and technology. Get our lowest ever price on the HP 7th Gen Intel Core i5 laptop at just $479. Save up to €400 on Windows laptops, up to 30% on tablets and 10% on selected gaming laptops. Nobody beats our prices fact. So sorry other stores, these are the ones you're gonna have to match. Good luck. Sale ends Tuesday. At Curry's PC World, we help you get it right.
Out with the old, Yahoo for the new. Brave colour, embrace texture, be utterly you. The fabulous Fulton Corner sofa now just $1995 at Casey's. Give your home a passion, a spark, a heart. With prices like this, you're ready to start. The King Coil Celebration mattress now just $999 at Casey's. Enjoy up to 50% savings to fill you with glee. The winter sale is now on at caseys.ie, with stores in Cork and Limerick and fast nationwide delivery.
Thinking of finance for a new car? Then visit mypcp.ie first. A new website brought to you by Renault to help answer all your questions about PCPs and tackle any myths you may have heard. In just a few clicks, you can estimate your current car's value and match it with a new personal contract plan. Get closer to the car you want. See mypcp.ie today. Finance is made under a hire purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. See mypcp.ie.
My dad was a Jack Russell. Loved chasing cars. Me, I prefer being in them. The whole family out, windows down, wind in my hair. Lick a bit of ice cream off the back seat. Any flavour, any car. You see, we have AA car insurance, so we're covered to drive any car. Well, they are. I don't drive, obviously, though I do have a licence.
With AA car insurance, our members get fully comprehensive insurance to drive other cars too. Go to the AA.ie. Who's got clever car insurance? Excludes value product. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. AA Ireland Limited Trading as AA Insurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
New year, new you? What does that even mean? A nip and tuck? A new fitness regime? Maybe travelling the world in a new camper van, or popping to Fiji to top up your tan. Is it taking that trip you'll never forget? Or just making 2019 the best year yet? It's the new year, new anything jackpot. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €4.5 million. Play responsibly. In-app, in-store or at lottery.ie. Lotto. Time to play.
At Dromoland Castle, there's no escaping the fact that you're walking in the footsteps of kings. So why not start 2019 with a royal experience of your own and join us for a very special stay. In January and February, you can enjoy a 5-star experience at Ireland's most impressive address from just €252 per room per couple. This offer includes bed and breakfast for 2, complimentary upgrade, an exclusive treat on arrival, and a daily estate experience for 2. Book today at dromoland.ie.
It's time to take a fresh look at Homebase. We've launched our new furniture and storage range with over 150 new lines now available in store. Like the Harlow dining table and 4 chairs, now only €260. Save €113 and 10 cents when bought together. And with storage solutions for every room, help keep your home tidy and organised. Hurry, don't miss out while stocks last. Make your house a home you love at Homebase.
Ulster versus Racing 92, live from Kingspan Stadium.
On Off the Ball.
Moments away from kick-off at Kingspan Stadium. But let's very quickly go to Galway because Connacht are taking on Sale in the Challenge Cup. Jenny Murphy is watching. Jenny, what's the latest? No, some problem talking to Jenny there. As far as I know, it's still scoreless in that game between Connacht and Sale. Let's go back to Kingspan Stadium and chat to Oisin and Andy Dunne, lads. It's Ulster against Racing. Full commentary, take it away.
Thank you very much, Nathan. 27 seconds gone. It is still scoreless between Ulster and Racing 92. Racing with possession just outside their own 22 in that kind of 5-metre channel. It's pass inside and they try and bulldoze their way towards the 10-metre line. But Ulster in their red jerseys today, standing strong. Racing 92 in their traditional blue and white striped jerseys. Ulster have won a penalty just outside the 22. It's about 17 metres in. It's a very kickable one for Billy Burns. John Cooney, by the way, not playing today. He had been named to start, but they went through a fitness test with him this morning and he didn't make it. Andy, that's a big loss. We'll get to that point in a second, but first, this penalty for Ulster, this could give them a good start, a bit of confidence. That's what they need.
Well, it's a first test of the impact of Cooney's loss. He would ordinarily be taking this and odds on to nail it. 2 minutes into the game, disappointing start in terms of physical intensity from Racing. You would have thought a ruck on their own 22 just after a kickoff was going to get blitzed, but Ulster were very strong over the ball and earned the penalty well. Let's see how it goes.
Ulster have lost only once here this season. That was against Connacht in the Pro 14. They have a very good record at home against French teams as well. Burns standing over this one into the memorial end. The sun in his eyes, the low winter sun. Conditions relatively still. Burns right-footed, connects with it well, and it sails between the sticks, and Ulster get the start that they desperately needed, desperately wanted. Ulster leading by 3 points to nil, just under 2 minutes gone in this game, live on off the ball. It's been a good Heineken Champions Cup weekend so far for the Irish provinces, with both Leinster and Munster winning. Ulster, they really do need to that kind of list of Irish winners if they're to have any chance of reaching the quarter-finals. Technically they could still qualify even if they lost today, but they'd really be behind the 8 ball. The kick-off is collected by Sean Reedy, who qualifies for Ireland through his Castle Gregory Grandad just inside the 22. He's driven back by the onrushing Racing pack, and they take it from the back of the ruck and go inside. Dave Shanahan kind of sniping at the back of that ruck. He's controlling it with his boot at the moment. He played very well in the U Arena in Paris, despite the fact that Ulster lost that game 44-12, but for long periods they were on top. The ball is kicked down the right hand side. Claessens collects it, crosses the 10 metre line. He's 3 metres in off the touchline, just shy of the Ulster 22. Digging it out the back is Maxime Machineau, the 30-year-old scrum half for Racing Metro. Ball at the back of the ruck now goes to Finn Russell, the playmaker. He gives it to Nakarawa, who we know can carry and run, but he offloads to Chizano. Chizano is between the 10 metre line and the 22 in the middle of the park. Ruck forms. Machineau goes out to the left hand side. It's floated wide by Henry Chavance. Ulster again get the tackles in, stop the Racing kind of blue tide coming forward. Here's Eric O'Sullivan racing towards the 10 metre line. He gets caught, goes into the back of the ruck. Now it's passed out to Jordy Murphy. Jordy Murphy, the former Leinster man, he's looking for options, gets swallowed up by the Racing pack while Ulster are trying to punch a hole and get out of their own half. Let's go to Leicester against Southampton. There has been a goal. Watching for off the ball, Shane Pennington.
It's Leicester 0, Southampton 1, and the visitors ahead courtesy of a penalty from James Ward-Prowse after Shane Long was fouled in the area by Bernard Mendy, and Ward-Prowse picked himself up, went to the spot and smashed it into the left hand top corner. It's Leicester 0, Southampton 1.
Welcome back to the Kingspan Stadium. Racing have turned the ball over. They're throwing it along their own back line now. They have it just outside the 22 and trying to slither through the cover is Chezano. He's a big man, but he's fleet of foot. Gets to the 10 metre line. Machineau puts it inside to Swarzeski, the former France international. He still has that mane of hair. It's very impressive. It's thick and flowing. Nakarawa tries to take it and drill through the Ulster centre pairing with Addison and Stuart McCluskey. It's not easy to do, but he pumps the legs and gets up to the 10 metre line. Racing still inside their own half. Swarzeski onto it again and offloads to his inside left shoulder. Still going left to right, Racing, still putting the ball through the hands, but still inside their own 10 metre line. They try something different now and flick it wide, and again still inside their own 10 metre line as the Racing fans begin to play the music. There's quite a few of them here today. Nakarawa is onto it again. They're edging towards that halfway line. They're about 20 metres in off the left hand side. Oh, it's knocked by a Racing player and he couldn't hang on to it, and it's a Ulster scrum in or around the 10 metre line inside the Racing half, mid of the pitch, a knock on, and the referee today, by the way, is Matthew Carley of England. He wasn't shy in calling it, Andy Dunne.
A snapshot of some of Racing's imperfections. We've seen a couple of very, very debatable offloads from Nakarawa, basketball style over the head of an Ulster defender. We've seen Zarzewski, arguably the most beautiful front row forward in world rugby. He's the long mane of hair. He has had an impact in terms of his ball carrying, but they're not holding on to possession as they'd like. They're going side to side, a little lateral, lacking in penetration, and Ulster scrum in midfield in a very dangerous position.
Dave Shanahan with the put into the scrum. The Ulster pack is Eric O'Sullivan, Rory Best, Marty Moore, Alan O'Connor, Kieran Treadwell, Sean Reedy, Jordy Murphy and Marcel Coetzee, the former Springbok international. Shanahan takes it from the back, goes inside to Billy Burns. Billy Burns chips it over the top. Stockdale is chasing this one. They have to be careful. Brice Dulin, the fullback, gets there. He's inside the 5 metre channel. He's grabbed by Stuart McCluskey, or Will Addison, I beg your pardon, who tries to drag him inside his own in-goal area. He's able to get to ground, and Racing now try and recycle and get rid of it because they're under real pressure here within that kind of 5 metre channel. It's passed inside to Gogshiashvili, the Georgian. Ulster trying to turn it over. Still a Racing ball, still only 4 metres from their own line. Ball at the back of that ruck. Machino getting his hands on it, but he's in no rush here now. He box kicks, and it is going to make touch, but it's just outside the 22, inside the Racing half. Billy Burns was going to throw it quickly back into play, but he couldn't. It will be a line out to Ulster just outside the Racing 22.
Pretty smart, pragmatic stuff from Ulster there. Halfway line, midfield scrum, kick into the corner, in behind that space. Zebo was well positioned. He has to be for the Ulster attacking threat, and as a result, Doolan has a lot of ground to cover. Ulster with a resulting line out on the 22. It's smart, pragmatic stuff for the start of a European game, a crucial game.
Rory Best throws into the line out. It's well taken. It's knocked down to Dave Shanahan. Shanahan goes into the middle to Burns. Burns slips it off to Kotsia. He almost bulldozed through there. He's just outside the 22. Ulster able to recycle. Now it's into the hands of Louis Luddock in his speed merchant. Luddock gets it out wide. Ulster get in for a try in the corner. It's a fantastic finish from Robert Balogun on his European debut. And with 7 minutes gone at the Kingspan, it's Ulster 8, Racing 92-0.
Beautifully taken score, left to right off the line out. Hit it up in midfield with a brilliant ball carry. Kieran Treadwell, I think it was, carried it into contact, but the ensuing ruck was won with real pace. Ulster flicked it from left to right again with pace. Their backline coming from depth, and the Fermanagh man Balogun showing real wheels to get in the corner.
Well, he said himself during the season that he didn't know this season whether or not he'd be playing 7s or 15s, and I'm sure the Ulster fans that are here today are glad that he went with the 15s. Now it's a conversion attempt for Burns. It's a tough one. It's within that 5 metre channel just outside the 22. As we say, good conditions for kickers, but a tough kick nonetheless.
It was noteworthy in the warm-up how much Ulster were practicing their handling in the forwards and in the backs, and how they interlinked. They were passing with width in the warm-up, 10 to 15 yard passes, and it shows on the field there. That left to right passing was exquisite.
So can they add the extras? Remember, Racing 5 points ahead of Ulster at the top of the pool. Burns steadies himself. Oh, it's not a great contact. It drops short and wide. It's a poor kick from Burns. John Cooney would have been taking those kicks, but I'm sure he'd still be disappointed with that.
It flew through the air like a stale loaf of bread, Oisin. It's where we're starting to see potentially the miss of Cooney. Far less consistent as a place kicker, Burns. I would have thought the first kick, a tricky penalty, would have settled his nerves, but that was pretty poor stuff.
Finn Russell now with the restart for Racing from the halfway line. He gets a good dip on that. It drops just short of the 22, and it's very well taken by Ulster. And the ruck forms, and Dave Shanahan is at the back again. He's showing real intensity and speed with the way he's moving the ball around, Dave Shanahan. I can understand why Dan McFarland has been so impressed with him. Shanahan at the back of the ruck again, controlling it with the boots, looking to the short side. He's about 15 metres from the touchline. Then he kicks a Gary Owen in the air. It's a box kick, and it was well gathered again by Balogun. He's having a stormer, the try scorer. Passes back inside, moved back towards the 22 by Geordie Murphy into the hands of Alan O'Connor. Alan O'Connor goes to ground between the 10 metre line and the 22 inside his own half. Now it's out wide to the left hand side, and Ulster try and run it up to the 10 metre line. They do it successfully. It's recycled. It's Dave Shanahan back inside to Burns. Burns gives it to Marty Moore, formerly of Wasps and of course Leinster. He gets up to the 10 metre line. Dave Shanahan flicks it past Rory Best, and Alan O'Connor helped it on there. It was really good play. Billy Burns takes it inside his own 10 metre line, kicks it down the wing. It doesn't get the contact that he wants. It's not a good kick. It goes out on the full. It will be a line out to Racing inside the Ulster 10 metre line. There's been a goal between Burnley and Fulham. Watching for off the ball, Adam Drury.
Burnley 1, Fulham 1, and Jeff Hendrick has equalised for the Clarets. It was a cross that came in from the left-hand side from Dwight McNeil. There was a push on Tarkovsky in the box. The fans were calling for a penalty, but Jeff Hendrick got his head focused and decided to smash the ball into the box and into the goal from close range, and it's leveled the scores. It's Burnley 1, Fulham 1.
Doolan goes out wide to Simon Zebo. We know the damage he can do, but he's met by a big hit by Louis Luddock. He does manage to recycle. Machino takes it. He's inside the 22. His 15 metres in, goes to ground, tries to feed it out the back. and he stays calm. Claessens is there, the number 8 for Racing 92, feeds it just to the left hand side, about 5 metres to his left hand side, and Racing just kind of try and bring Ulster in and settle it down, and then they go back out to Dunne. Dunne gives to Swarzeski. He's tackled by his opposite hooker, Rory Best, who brings him to ground. They're 3 metres off the touchline on the right hand side inside the Ulster 22 by about 5 metres. Now it's into the hands of Laurie, the 29-year-old. He's driven back, but it's still Racing ball. Machino's there. Machino gives it to Finn Russell. Finn Russell goes short with the pass, and the prop takes it, and he gets inside the 22. Good defence from Ulster so far. Floated out wide again, and Russell takes and gets caught in heavy traffic. Ulster in the red jerseys today. They're leading by 8 points to 0. There's 11 minutes gone. Nakarawa brings it out to the left hand side, tries another one of those basketball passes. It does work out. Some of the fans thought it was forward, but the referee allows play to continue. Racing with the ball in the corner, halfway inside the Ulster 22, 3 metres off the touchline. They've got any number of ball carriers willing to take this and waiting to take this, and one of them does take it. It's Bernard Leroux. Bernard Leroux gains a few metres, gains a few hard yards. Now it's back to Nakarawa, who tries to parry his way through. He can't do so. Machino gives it to Chizinau, who tries to slither through, does gain a few yards. He's stopped short by about 7 metres, but then in the ruck it's an infringement from Racing Metro under the Ulster post, and it is going to be a penalty to Ulster in the middle of the pitch, about 15 metres under their own sticks.
It's bringing a lot of work upon themselves for the Ulster team. I mean, we spoke about a pragmatic start when they kicked into the opposition corner down deep into the Racing territory, but in order to get out of their own territory, their own 22, they've kicked one straight into touch, and they've done one very high shallow box kick and put themselves under an inordinate amount of pressure. They've probably had to make 20-25 tackles there as a result. It's a great victory to hold out Racing, but it's an unnecessary usage of their energy and their physicality.
So Ulster kick the resulting penalty down the park, and they will have a line out just inside the Racing half. Let's go to Turf Moor. Burnley taking on Fulham. There's been another goal. Adam Drury is watching.
Burnley 2, Fulham 1, and Dennis Adoy has put the ball in his own net to give the Clarets the lead. The work came from Jeff Hendrick, who rushed into the penalty area. He tried to play across to his teammate. Instead, Adoy, who was trying to head the ball clear, got it completely wrong and ended up heading it past his own goalkeeper. It's Burnley 2, Fulham 1.
And Ulster are trying to make their way down the wing through Stuart McCluskey. Goes out to Ludwig. Ludwig to Stockdale. Peels off the defender. Stockdale crosses the line and dives over. Second try for Ulster. Only Jacob Stockdale could get a try like that. Ulster 13, Racing 92-0. 13 minutes gone, live and off the ball.
Super finish, and it showed a flexibility in terms of how Ulster are using their backline and their resources. They're using Stuart McCluskey there to deliver the killer pass, as opposed to a guy who's been more accustomed to carrying the ball into contact. A beautiful out the back door pass behind the screen runner into Will Addison, who executed a 2-on-1 perfectly. Stockdale with a bit of work to do, was able to brush off the last defender, and Zebo was then 5 yards behind, wasn't going to make up that ground. Brilliant finish.
Absolutely supreme finish. Now both of Ulster's starting wingers have scored. 13 minutes and 32 seconds on the clock. Ulster 13, Racing 0, but we're having a look at this one. The TMO isn't so sure. Matthew Carney, the referee, referring to Jeff Warren, the TMO. So has there been a second try? Billy Burns is standing waiting to take the attempted conversion. That would be from about 7 metres off the touchline. It is a try, and Ulster get their second of the game. Remember, they also had a great start against Racing in the U Arena, and we know how that turned out, so they won't get too carried away yet, but it is a good start. It is 2 tries, and it is Ulster who lead by 13 points to 0, and it's Jacob Stockdale who scores yet again in Europe. He scored in every round this season.
I'm not quite sure what the query was there, Oisin. Added a little bit to the drama, mind you.
That's the only reason. Add to the drama. This is TV, it's showbiz, baby.
I gotta say, we gotta commend the Ulster handling so far. So crisp, so precise, accurate, with speed.
So Burns, whose last attempt was poor, it has to be said, has landed a penalty so far. This is his second attempt at a conversion. He's 7 metres off the touchline, and he hasn't caught that one well. He drags it wide on the near side, the Memorial end. It remains Ulster 13, Racing 92-0. You wonder, will some of those missed kicks cost them?
I'm beginning to twitch here. I played a game up here about 15 years ago. I couldn't kick snow off for hope. Missed about 5 penalties in a wind and rainstorm. Don't worry, I'll always remember it. But Burns looking to be striking the ball as well as I was that day, which leaves a lot to be desired.
That was a different stadium, you could argue.
It was far less enclosed.
The restart is gathered very well by Sean Reedy, who takes it just outside the Ulster 22, about 17 metres off the touchline. Dave Shanahan there again, looking at options. Louis Luddick is one of them. Again, he goes for that box kick. Again, it's spinning in the air. And again, it's Claessens who takes it on the halfway line. And by the time he goes to ground, he's kind of halfway between the halfway line and the 10-metre line. Mashno's now trying to dig it out. He's inside the Ulster half. Spins it into the middle, a charge up towards the 10-metre line. Mashno there again, gives it to Finn Russell. Finn Russell offloading to Shizuno. Shizuno can't find a way through, so he just bashes his way through and almost gets up to the 10-metre line. They're showing a bit more physicality now, Racing. Laurier takes it, he goes to ground. They're about 7 or so metres off the touchline. Now it's Nakarawa. We know he can carry, the former Warriors player, but he doesn't carry very far there. That's a big win for Ulster, for him to kind of try and charge through and not get through. It was floated wide by Shavante. Ulster get their cover across again. They're going left to right. They're gaining ground then losing ground. This will be okay for Ulster, won't it?
I think they'll be happy with it, given the territory where they are in the field, that middle third of the field, and Racing lacking penetration going from side to side.
Eventually Racing get frustrated and they try and put a grubber kick through. It's not bad. It does bounce inside the 22. It will be a line out to Ulster, but as we say, inside their own 22. 16 minutes gone, Ulster 13, Racing 92-0.
As we look on with Dave Shanahan having a discussion with the referee, we probably should address the elephant in the room, that John Cooney being injured, added to Kieran Marmion and Luke McGrath going off the field for Leinster, means we've one scrum half 2 weeks away from the Six Nations.
But that is the best scrum half in the world at the very least.
It is, but it's nonetheless a worrying development in one afternoon.
Luke McGrath, John Cooney and Kieran Marmion all injured at the moment. We're not exactly sure what the extent of Cooney's injury is. We'll get more detail after the match.
McGrath's looked serious. He was on the ground in the Leinster game for 5 to 10 minutes. I think maybe not quite as long, 5 minutes maybe, but the physiotherapists were asking the referee to stop play at one stage, so he did walk off the field with assistance, but doesn't mean it's not a serious injury, knee or hip. Hard to tell on TV cameras, but it's a big loss for the strength and depth around the 9 position.
We have an injury here, but it's not to any of the players. It's to referee Matthew Carley, who is receiving some treatment, and the cheer you're hearing is not for the referee's injury. It is for the team of 99, the Ulster team of 99, that won the Heineken Cup. That was the 30th of January 1999. The structure of the tournament was a bit different back then. They were paraded before this game, as Andy was saying, if you were with us live and off the ball, and they're getting a bit of a cheer because they are special guests here today. The referee still receiving treatment. He should be okay to continue. Ulster leading by 13 points to 0. We've got 16 minutes gone in the game. Balogun and Jacob Stockdale with the tries, and they were both really impressive tries, weren't they?
They were. I think Balogun showing his fleet of foot coming from the sevens circuit. Maybe a guy who's going to push for a regular starting place when they're at full strength. That Ulster 99 side, a great achievement, worth giving them a mention. First Irish team to win a European Cup. Not a great advert for life after rugby, mind you. Some of the guys walking around the field there look about 65. A lot of limping, a lot of dodgy looking hips.
The referee is okay to continue as we swiftly move away from that topic. Rory Best with the line out just inside his own 22, right in front of us here in Kingspan Stadium. It's a good line out as well. It's well taken. Maul formed by Ulster. We haven't seen too much mauling so far in this game, but the one we're seeing right now is quite impressive. Ulster pushing Racing right back. Racing very much on the back foot here. They go to ground, and well, they don't go to ground. Some of the players go to ground. Best steals away. He tries a basketball pass away, and the ball receiver is swallowed up, and he's put to ground. Dave Shanahan is at the back. He's in absolutely no rush here. He's assessing his options. I wonder, will he go for the kick again? Remember, Cooney ruled out before this game, had a fitness test this morning, so he can't play. Zebo collects it just inside the Ulster half, 5 metres off the line. Zebo stepping around Ulster players, getting to the 10-metre line and getting no further. 3 pounds on him. Mashino feeds it back out to Finn Russell. Finn Russell tries to chip it down the line. Dave Shanahan is on top of that. He stayed cool under pressure, gave it up to Louis Luddick. Louis Luddick going to ground. Shanahan directing the traffic, telling the players to get back a bit. Kutsia takes it, and again he's driven on by his teammates, and Ulster gain a few hard yards. Dave Shanahan at the back again, about 17 or so metres off the touchline, goes back inside to Jordy Murphy. Jordy Murphy never afraid to carry the ball. He's a big Barcelona fan. He was actually born in Barcelona. Dave Shanahan at the back again, goes for the kick again. They're really testing the back 3 of Racing here, but it's well taken by Brice Dulin, who's got 29 caps for France. He made the first part look easy. He made the second part look hard, Dulin, because he kind of ran himself into trouble. However, Racing are able to get it out to Zibo. Zibo passes it in field. Now it's Bernard Leroux who tries to make his way to halfway. Swarzewski takes and goes, and he gets inside the Ulster half. He's in the middle of the pitch. For a moment he looks slightly isolated, but Machino gets there and gets it across to the left hand side. Now it's fed out wide by Imhoff, the Argentinian, and Racing caught between the 5 metre line and the 15 metre line. Eventually they find Swarzewski, who gets up to the 10 metre line. It's a little bit slow in coming out of the back of the ruck there. The Ulster fans think it's been slowed down, but the referee says play on. Chavance tries to slither through, but he can't do so, and they're stopped again. Ulster standing firm so far to any Racing attack, but there's a long time left yet. 18 minutes gone in the game so far, live and off the ball here at the Kingspan, and it's Ulster who lead by 13 points to nil. Nakarawa got through, did very well, offloaded to Gogshiashvili, the Georgian, who carries to 3 metres shy of the 22. Now it's Finn Russell. Finn Russell gives it to Leroux. Leroux with the beautiful sidestep. Now it's Simon Zibo inside the 22. Zibo trying to sneak through. Tackled really well by Kieran Treadwell. He tries to drag him into touch, and the touch judge flag goes up. That's a fantastic tackle by Kieran Treadwell, the ex-England under-20 who now plays for Ireland.
Well, Nakarawa and Vakatawa, it's a bit of a mouthful, tongue twister. Both very, very similar in physical stature, and both similar in terms of their skill set. Both able to offload so well out of the tackle. It's almost disdainful. They've got tacklers coming in around hip and knee level, and they're just dinking the ball over their heads to support runners. It is causing problems for the Ulster defence.
Rory Best with the line out inside his own 22, halfway between the 22 and his own try line. On a unseasonably warm day, the gloves have been discarded. Well, Andy, you weren't wearing gloves to start with. You're far harder man than me. Rory Best to the back. Treadwell couldn't quite get his hands on it. It finds its way to Swarzewski. Bit of a blind pass. Bounces to Leroux. Leroux tries to make his way through, and he gets about 5 metres inside that Ulster 22. Now it's Finn Russell. Back to, I think that's Vakatawa who takes it, the France international. Again, he can't get through. Machino with it on the 22. In the middle of the pitch, gives it off to Gogshiashvili, who dips the shoulder and tries to plough his way through. Machino there again. Now again it's Bernard Leroux. Bernard Leroux rolls, places. Machino back to Classens, the number 8. Racing have a man down at the moment, so they're playing with only 14. Machino gives it inside to Finn Russell. Finn Russell tries to sidestep, goes through a gap. The gap was closed very quickly, but Racing are midway through that 22. Now it's out to Vakatawa, who sidesteps. Vakatawa still going. Vakatawa with a brilliant finish.
Superb,
and after 20 minutes, it's Ulster 13, Racing 5. Vakatawa took it midway inside the 22, sidestepping about 3 wannabe tacklers, and crossed the line with a spectacular dive. Racing 13, or I beg your pardon, Ulster 13, Racing 5.
Well, didn't he make it look easy? We just mentioned how much of a threat both Nakarawa and Vakatawa have been. He's gliding when he gets that ball in front of him, steps inside, a swerve back outside, a handoff, and he's just got top tackle before the try line, but well within his reach to reach out and score. Superb finish.
He kind of built the tackle into his finish. It was amazing. He used the momentum of the tackle.
Yeah, a super finish. The area of concern for me looking at the Ulster side at the moment is again they're getting out of their own 22. They've managed to make a meal out of it on 2 or 3 occasions. It's a tactic that's been used by all the Irish nines, all at provincial level. Box kicks, shallow box kicks, high and close to their own.
Speaking of kicks, here's the conversion attempt from Finn Russell. He's about 7 metres in off the touchline, just outside the 22, and Finn Russell hasn't caught that one well. It's a let off for Ulster. 21.5 minutes gone, live and off the ball at the Kingspan Stadium in the Heineken Champions Cup. It is Ulster 13, Racing 92-5 earlier on. Leinster beating Toulouse last night. Munster overcoming Gloucester. We're going to be going to Jenny Murphy, by the way, very shortly. She's at the sports ground for Connacht against Sale. That in the Challenge Cup. Now the restart will come from Billy Burns. The last thing Ulster want to do, as I confirm my status as statement of the obvious champion of 2019, even this earlier in the year, the last thing Ulster want to do now is concede another score quickly.
Yeah, I think they've got to be smart about playing territory. They've kicked long, which is smart and probably the obvious tactic to keep Racing deep in their own 22. However, we know this Racing style and this team, they're well able to attack from deep, so they need to be on high alert.
Again, Vakatawa was almost caught in a tackle there, but he was able to offload. Now it's Classens making his way down the right hand side to the 10 metre line, but the referee spotted a knock on. and it will be an Ulster scrum. Or did he step out?
It was a forward pass. I think it was Finn Russell again. This is what we're dealing with. The Racing Club, you're prepared to run from anywhere, run from deep and make risky passes. It was another one of those kind of over-the-head basketball type one-handed offloads from Finn Russell, but it was adjudged forward. So again, they take on the risk. It's high reward, but it's also high penalty when it goes wrong.
But it's great to watch though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super to watch. It breaks the game up. We're so used to monotonous running into opposition forwards and multiple rucks.
Crash, wallop, go again.
Absolutely.
Crash, wallop, recycle. That's
these guys are an entirely different style and approach to rugby. It is great to watch.
Racing currently 5th, by the way, in the top 14. But the way it works, they won't mind so much so long as they get into the playoffs. Dave Shanahan feeding the Ulster scrum just outside the Racing 22, 7 metres off the touchline. Shanahan makes his way to the back, but it's Kotsia who breaks off and goes for a run and a charge and bowls over one of the Racing players there. Dave Shanahan takes the loose ball, gives it off there to Sean Reedy. Sean Reedy tried to sidestep and then he used his power. Here's Dave Shanahan, gives it off to Eric O'Sullivan. What a journey he's had in a short space of time. Dave Shanahan again going with a flat pass to Stuart McCluskey, who took it really well into the chest. McCluskey kind of slipped as he took it, but he's able to turn his body on the ground, give it to Dave Shanahan. Dave Shanahan gives it off to Rory Best. Rory Best trying to make his way through. Advantage being played to Ulster at the moment. Now it's Sean Reedy. Sean Reedy takes and falls and recycles, and it's Dave Shanahan who works it on the short side, gives it to Billy Burns. Billy Burns offloads to his man on the right hand side. Shanahan at the back again, 2 metres off the touchline. Shanahan back inside to Alan O'Connor, who's just outside the 22. Ulster now all the way back to the 10 metre line, but it's a crossfield kick. Racing after is Jacob Stockdale. It bounces into the in-goal area. Stockdale! Oh, he's so unlucky. It looked for all the world like he was going to get on it. He's desperately unlucky. 24 minutes gone. Ulster 13, Racing 5. They've scored 2 tries. Very unlucky. Literally the bounce of a ball away from getting a third, but it didn't quite fall their way. There's another goal in the Premier League. Producer, you're going to have to talk into my ear again, because Palace Watford and all the excitement, I forgot who it was. Andrew Cheel is watching. Andrew.
Palace 1, Watford 0, as scruffy a goal as you will ever see. The corner came in from the left-hand side. It pinged around the 6-yard box, hit about 5 players, 3 from Watford, 2 from Palace, and eventually it sort of drifted over the line off a Watford defender. It's officially gone down as an own goal. Palace don't care. It's Palace 1, Watford 0.
Sorry about forgetting what game you were at, let alone your name there, Andrew. I would never forget someone like Jenny Murphy. She's over in the sports ground watching Connacht in the Challenge Cup. Jenny, what's happening?
Cracking game so far. Connacht up 17-0 for the majority of the half, putting huge pressure under Sale. But Chris Ashen has just crossed the try line, so it's at the moment 17-5 to Connacht, with a kick still to come from the Clerk. Such a high intensity start over here, with tries coming from Godwin and Mitchell. Just serious pressure from the Connacht defensive line that's forcing a lot of errors from Sale, who look like a bit surprised, taken aback, especially from the game on the 4th against Surrey, which was a big win. So I think Connacht have had.
Okay, thanks for that, Jenny. Ulster have just scored a penalty. It was actually kicked over by Will Addison, and after 26 minutes it's Ulster 16, Racing 92-5. Andy, when last we were with you, we saw that bounce of the ball costing Ulster a try, but in the end it wasn't too bad, because they were actually playing advantage and they scored from the resulting penalty.
Yeah, it's a pity, a real bit of bad luck. It was actually they've just they've made a meal out of the restart again, Ulster, but they've managed to secure possession again. But yeah, the ball was in the dead ball area, with Stockdale really just standing over it, but one extra bounce got away from him. Stockdale lost his feet and it went into dead in goal, so it was there for the taking, but just a bit of bad fortune.
Stockdale making his 50th appearance for Ulster today, and what a 50 it has been. Dave Shanahan with the box kick from inside his own 22. It's gathered by Claessens on the 10 metre line for Racing, makes his way up the wing, almost gets into the 22. Ulster will be disappointed with some of the tackling there. It's fed off by Machino, crashing inside the 22 now, the Racing pack, given off to Finn Russell. Finn Russell with the delayed pass inside to Vakatawa, who got a great try earlier in this game. Ulster leading 16-5. Now it's back inside, Vakatawa again. Vakatawa carries, Swarzewski takes from the back of the ruck, charges up towards the try line. They're under the post, he's 5 metres shy, he's tackled and goes to ground, and Racing recycle. Machino there again with plenty of players waiting, including Nakarawa, I think it is. Basketball style pass out to Zebo. Zebo, can he finish with the squeeze into the corner? We might go to the TMO depending on what the referee thinks happened there. They're congratulating Zebo, they think he scored. We are going to the TMO, Jeff Warren. What do you think, Andy, on first look?
Looks like he made it. He very, very athletic. It looks like he almost like he was on a surfboard. He slid with his feet very, very high in the air. His left knee looks to be coming dangerously close to the touchline. No, he scored it. Brilliant awareness of his own body position and where the touchline is. He's effectively over the sideline, but his knees are in the air, so he's got the ball down brilliantly.
Brilliant work again by the backs and the forwards.
There's a Vakatawa again, though. They've had 2 offloads in that run of 5 phases of play. Again, Nakarawa once and Vakatawa the second time.
Try awarded, and Racing narrow the gap. 27 minutes gone in the game. It is now Ulster 16, Racing 10, and the conversion attempt to come, which is literally on the touchline. On that right touchline for Russell. Probably wouldn't back him based on his first kick. 16-10. We spoke about a humdinger off air, and we also spoke on air just before kick-off, but it's been a sublime game of rugby with some real great skills on view. Absolutely supreme, and while it has cost them at times, Racing, the kind of offloading game they play, it's also earned them their 2 tries.
Absolutely, yeah. Their bravery being rewarded, sometimes a little foolhardy when they do it from deep.
Vakatawa again, fantastic there. Vakatawa. Russell strikes. This one looks a little bit better, or will it just go across the face of goal? Yeah, it drifts across the face.
Looks like a hold up in the wind, yeah.
Yeah, it was really unlucky there. It did hold up in that kind of wind that came through the gap between the stands. And
it's a very strong wind for base kickers, very.
Yeah, it's tough here, Andy, isn't it?
It is.
So if any out half has ever had a bad game here, like Andy, they have the excuse ready-made. It's all about
swirling.
You,
it's a swirling cauldron.
28 minutes gone. Ulster 16, Racing 92-10. Vakatawa and Nakarawa's offloading, absolutely supreme. Zebo's finished good. It's a block-down kick from Rory Best, who chases after it, and it just bounces shy of the in-goal area and the dead ball line, but the referee is calling it back. Well, that was loose from Racing, who almost made a mess of the restarts. They had the ball just halfway inside the 22. The attempted clearance kick was blocked down, but there was too much pace on the rebound for it to kind of hold up for an Ulster player to run onto it. So Racing have the 22 dropout here. Finn Russell looking a little bit sheepish.
They look a little bit addicted to the rush. It's like watching a gambler. It's adrenaline filled stuff, high risk.
Restart falls to Swarzeski. Swarzeski offloads, and Racing bring it up to the 10-metre line, middle of the pitch, inside their own half. Swarzeski up again, gives it off to Nakarawa, who again tries an offload. This time it doesn't work, bounces into the path of LaRue, but it was more by accident than design. Mashino from the back of the ruck, gives to Russell. Russell goes across. Javante floats it past the far wing. Claessens takes it, and takes it really well. He's popping up everywhere, the number 8. He's so quick. Again, it goes loose from Racing. It bounces inside the 15-metre channel, then just outside of it. It's inside their own half. Now they go inside their own 10-metre line. Taken really well. A nice step, but he runs into Alan O'Connor, the Racing player who got the ball in hand. At the back of the ruck, Mashino tries to slip it off. Instead, keeps it in the hand and kind of pumps his legs and drives up towards the halfway line. Javante gives to Swarzeski. Swarzeski thought about passing out to the left wing. Kind of slipped. He got caught in 2 minds there, but on the ground he was able to crawl up to halfway. Mashino takes from the back of the ruck. He's got plenty of options to the left hand side. There's about 4 Racing players with their hands out saying, give it to us. Guram Gogshiashvili takes it to 24-year-old Georgian. Now it's Mashino again, who goes inside to LaRue. LaRue to Russell. Russell with another block down kick, which squirms along the 10-metre line. It was a knock on by Billy Burns. It kind of fell to him awkwardly. It was at his boot laces. He couldn't quite control it with the hand. It's a scrum to Racing, but it could have been far worse for them. The scrum, by the way, is on the 10-metre line inside their own half, mid of the pitch.
Looks like it came off, the kick from Finn Russell looks like it came off Marty Moore's head. Quite a sore one.
Yeah.
Potentially in the middle of the face.
Marty Moore.
It takes a lot to put Marty down on one knee.
Yep. Well, we'll have a bit of a breather here. The referee stopped play. 30 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Ulster 16, Racing 92-10. It's been a bit of a belter so far.
It has, and it's been punctuated by some moments of clarity. We've seen Claessens as a number 8 being really aggressive in his ball carrying. He's actually the one guy who's tying up the game and making it a little less loose for the Racing team. On the other side, on the Ulster side, we've surprisingly, I suppose, for a less experienced player, we've seen Dave Shanahan look very composed and give his team a little bit of shape and a little bit of structure. The game sometimes games that are so wild and embracing risk as the game goes on needs a little bit of structure just to add to the occasion. But there's one or two players on either side who seem to didn't read the script prior to the game. They're the one guys who are putting their foot on the brakes a little bit for either side, probably in a good way.
Well, in the 20 years since Ulster won the Heineken Champions Cup, 17 times they've beaten French teams here out of 20. That's not bad. They'll hope to make it 18 today. Machino feeding the scrum, which is on his own 10-metre line, middle of the pitch. Claessen's again kind of driving from the back. It wheels around, but it is a penalty to Racing.
I'd be of the opinion the referee gambled on that decision too. That was an absolute mess of a scrum. It was very, very hard to read who was at fault. He's gone against Ulster. Ben Tamefuna, who's a bit of a throwback to the olden days of props. He's physically more like some of those guys from the 99 team that were paraded before the game. Not the most agile guy, or maybe not the most aerobically fit, but I would hate to scrummage against him.
The attempted penalty, which was aimed for the corner, gets caught in the wind and drops on the 10-metre line inside the Ulster half. Simon Zebo got there. Zebo's able to offload, but the referee gives the penalty to Ulster.
Touch kick, the penalty to touch, unforgivable really to miss it from there. A chance for Racing to build from a set piece, a strong line out, but not to make touch from that position, whether there's a wind or not, was poor.
Will Addison has taken over as kind of de facto number 10 when they have a set piece. He, from his own 10-metre line, kicks it up the line, and Ulster have the line out just inside the Racing 10-metre line. There is a deceptively strong breeze out there. I will say that for the kickers today.
Yeah, the ball has travelled initially off the boot at great speed, and then held up in the end of its trajectory, held up in the air on a number of occasions.
Rory Best to the back of the line out again. It's knocked down off the top to Dave Shanahan. He gives to Stuart McCluskey. McCluskey stepped right, then stepped in left. Ulster recycle again. Here's Kieran Treadwell. They're just outside the Racing 22, middle of the pitch. It's Marty Moore to carry. He's shaken off the effect of that ball to the head. Dave Shanahan gives to Billy Burns. Billy Burns out to Will Addison. It's intercepted, and Racing through Imhoff get up to the 10-metre line. Now trying to dig it out is Vakatawa, and Racing have turned it over. That's a wasted opportunity for Ulster to loose play.
Well, I think in fairness to Will Addison, it's his first piece of loose play of the game. He's been quite inventive. He's a very, very flexible and adaptable player, both for Ulster and when he's been in the Irish squad. But his first mistake hasn't cost him, but Racing's still in possession.
Claessens took the ball inside his own 10-metre line, and Jacob Stockdale drove into him, put it to ground. Nothing wrong with the tackle, it was just very strong and physical. LaRue tries to carry. He's between the 22 and the 10-metre line inside his own half. Finn Russell receives, tries to chip over the top. Will Addison pickpockets it. Ulster have it back now. It's Louis Luddock who's trying to make his way through heavy Belfast traffic. Gets up to the 10-metre line, middle of the pitch, inside the Racing half. Billy Burns, zippy pass to Alan O'Connor. Alan O'Connor, the second row, stopped short of the 10-metre line. Dave Shanahan trying to dig it out again. Dave Shanahan does give to Jordy Murphy, who we know can carry the ball effectively. He didn't get very far there, but he was met by a very powerful Racing tackle. Dave Shanahan goes back to the halfway line on Marty Moore. Marty Moore goes to ground. Dave Shanahan again. Dave Shanahan gives to Billy Burns. Billy Burns gives to Will Addison. Will Addison with a brilliant cutting run up to the 10-metre line and inside it. Passes off to his right shoulder, and I think it was Balakoon who couldn't get any further, but he did well to keep it alive. However, the referee has spotted, I think, an offside from Ulster. No, they didn't roll away, and it's a penalty to Racing just inside their own 10-metre line to the left of centre.
Well, it was actually Ludick in support of Will Addison, and in a way you could argue Addison was so sharp there, a turn of pace and a step off the right foot. He kind of glided through the Racing defence and went away from his support runners with the right foot step. Ludick dived off his feet to try and secure possession and gave the penalty away. But Addison looks really, really dangerous. He's kicked off both feet so far in the game with great accuracy. He's place kicked, he's kicking to touch. He's now in the wider channels. He's adding a lot of threat to the Ulster game. He's been hugely important for them in the first 20-25 minutes.
You'll be glad to know, Andy, that I've seen biscuits on the tea tray for half time. You're obsessed with biscuits. Racing have a line out inside the Ulster 10 metre line. Swarzeski, it's to the middle and it's really well worked off the top. Finn Russell moves it on to Siavance. Siavance leads with the shoulder, goes to ground halfway between the 10 metre line and the 22. Great tackle by Coetzee, who drives Racing back almost entirely on his own. Now it's Nakarawa. Nakarawa passes into the middle and it's an offload from Vakatawa. Vakatawa manages to keep it alive. Brice Dulin is on it just outside the 22, 7 metres off the touchline. Ulster standing firm at the moment. Pass back inside to Bernard Leroux. Boris Palou, by the way, is on for Racing. Machino inside to Finn Russell. Finn Russell gives to Nakarawa, who again is tackled, but he manages to kind of leap in the air and basketball pass it off to Dulin, who's just shy of the 22. Now it's Finn Russell. Finn Russell gives it off to the left hand side. Ulster with 3 tacklers around the ball carrier, and eventually they bring him to ground with 5 metres inside the 22, inside their own 22. Advantage now being played to Ulster, so they will have the chance to clear their lines. They'll try and play it. They bring play up to the 22 through Will Addison. Will Addison is trying to get the ball away, but he's out of options. The referee says no advantage really there for you lads, so it's your penalty just inside your own 22, about 15 metres off the touchline, and there's 36 and a bit minutes gone. Ulster leading 16-10 against Racing 92.
Well, just as you said, 36 minutes gone. I thought it was about 25. It's just flown by. It is absolutely breathless stuff. I mean, both sides are surrendering possession, probably adds to the pace of the game. I don't want a biscuit at this stage. Just wanted to keep going here.
You've never not wanted a biscuit.
Jim Neely's going to eat all the biscuits. I'm sure he will. He's got a big brown leather jacket there that's hiding the fact he's been eating biscuits at these matches for 25 years. I won't get close to them.
So there's an injury out there again. Is it the referee again? No, it's not. The water carriers coming in. Actually, it's not an injury, it's just water carriers coming in. It's been very, very intense. There's a slight knock, I think, for I can't quite see who it is at the moment because there's a big crowd of players in between the man who's receiving treatments and us.
It's always interesting to see when there is one injury, how many guys come on in bibs now at the moment. It's not the doc and the physio or 1 or 2 in the medical team. It's probably 5 from each side of the ground. There's got to be 10 or 11 guys in bibs on the field at the moment. I'm sure they're feeding in information, they're feeding in strategy and tactics. There's unofficial water boys, official water boys. It's mayhem. 10, 11 guys on the field giving instructions to various players, but I suppose they're using what advantages they can.
Rory Best is receiving a bit of treatment. Louis Luddock had received a bit of treatment as well. He's now got a bandage in his nose. Obviously he was bleeding a bit. They'll hope to get to half time. Rory Best, I think you accept at this stage, if you're Ulster coach Dan McFarland or Ireland coach Joe Schmidt, that he can't really play the 80, so you try and keep him on for as long as you can and get the best out of him, the Ulster captain.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think when we saw, I suppose, the role of captain coming to the fore down at Thomond Park with Sexton and his captaincy style being questioned a couple of weeks ago. Best captaincy style is hugely influential for the Ulster side, let alone his actual standard of play. Similarly, his relationship to referees. O'Driscoll spoke about how Best is able to contain his emotions very, very well, regardless of what may have happened at the bottom of a scrum. He's able to talk candidly to the referee, and it's a great advantage in one of these tight games.
And we resume with an Ulster penalty from just inside their 22. It's a beautiful right-footed kick from Will Addison, who gets them right inside Racing territory, just shy of the 10 metre line. 3 minutes to go to the break. Ulster leading by 16 points to 10 in a game that they quite simply have to win. It's a huge game for them. They haven't reached the knockout stages since 2014, and that just isn't acceptable for a club of this size. Granted, they've had a few strange years. The ball collected at the back by Sean Reedy. It wasn't the tidiest move off the top of a line out from Ulster. Here's Alan O'Connor. Alan O'Connor is on halfway and tries to pump the legs and drive at the pack. They recycle and give it to Marty Moore. Marty Moore again using his part to try and gain inches inside that Racing half. Dave Shanahan now gives to Billy Burns. Billy Burns just standing on the Racing side of the Ulster 10 metre line. He kicks it high in the air. Dulin takes it very well just outside the 22, and rather than kicking, he makes his way across the park. He's clamped there and has to offload to Henry Siavance. Siavance doesn't have the room to kick, so he carries into trouble. Racing recycle. Machino has it. He's inside his own 22 by about 2 metres, middle of the pitch. The Ulster fans maybe feel something is on here. It's given to Swarzeski, or not Swarzeski, I beg your pardon, he tries to carry. It is in fact Taumfuna. Taumfuna does his job. Racing recycle and kick it clear. It will be a line out to Ulster just outside of the Racing 10 metre line on the near side as we look from the stand here in Kingspan Stadium.
Solid clearance from Russell, adds a bit of normality to proceedings. Seems like it's been pretty swashbuckling stuff. So a kick from his own 22. long and true up to the Ulster halfway line. Takes the pace off the game a little bit just before half time. Minute and a half to the whistle.
Rory Best, who received some running repairs a couple of minutes ago, he's now discarded the white scrum cap because he had to get a bandage around his head.
16-10, would you have taken it, Don McFarland, going into half time? I think so.
No, yeah, absolutely. What he will be frustrated with is the mistakes that led to the Racing tries. And they were well taken, but avoidable. He goes short at the line out. Sean Reedy takes it and drops it. I thought initially maybe he dropped it backwards. No, he hasn't. It's dropped forwards. It's a knock on, and it's a Racing ball. And Dave Shanahan gets into a bit of bother there.
He's barking up the wrong tree there. He needs to reverse.
Yep, he has a little word with Vincenzo Slore, the back row. Bit of a size discrepancy there, but Dave Shanahan doesn't care, and that's the kind of guy you want out there. He doesn't care how big the guy is. If someone has a go at him, he'll have a go back.
Stringer-esque, very, very gritty and determined, but he's absolutely had an impact on the game. It's great to see. It's not like he's an absolute novice. He's been around the Ulster squad for 3-4 seasons at this stage, but to come into a game with such late notice, and I suppose put his own imprint on it has been mightily impressive stuff.
He's 25, so he's relatively experienced. What happened there was Laurie held onto his leg and he just threw the ball against his head, and that's where the hassle came from.
Like all good scrum halves, that's what you want. A little bit of niggle. I don't believe they are many shrinking violets out there playing 9 in history.
Well, we'll be with Nathan for a roundup of what's happening in the Premier League very shortly, and we'll also be crossing back to the sports ground to see how Connacht are getting on in their Challenge Cup game against Sale. We're now into the red numbers at the end of the first half, and Ulster lead by 16 points to 10. Racing have to put into the scrum, and it's on the Ulster side of the Racing 10 metre line, 6 metres off the touchline. I wonder will they just be
interesting to see, will they just kick it into touch and take half time? I wouldn't be surprised if they threw it wide, although I see Finn Russell's positioning looks a little bit like they've given in for this half. He's not standing at his usual width from Mashno off the scrum, so he was tucked in behind. Could be an elaborate ruse.
Fans begin to drift off for the half-time cup of tea or whatever beverage they fancy. Mashino slow in delivering here. The referee still barking instructions at the front rows. Mashino feeds. Now will Racing try to play this one, or will they just put it into touch? It's kind of trapped inside there. Ulster are trying to drive them off the ball. Racing do try and play to their credit. Chivante takes it on the 10 metre line, tries to get through a gap. The gap is closed. Mashino now refeeds. It's Nakarawa again. What a first half he's had. He's been involved in everything. It's built by Nakarawa. It's taken by Shanahan. He gives it to Marty Moore. Marty Moore kind of sets himself for a charge like a bull, and he goes to ground. Dave Shanahan takes. Dave Shanahan gives it back to Marcel Kotsia. Kotsia on halfway. Shanahan gives to Billy Burns. Billy Burns goes with a deep pass to Will Addison. Will Addison teasing and tantalising and getting up to the 10 metre line. He's tackled. He goes to ground 4 metres off the touchline inside the 5 metre channel. Now it's Billy Burns. Gives to Rory Best. Rory Best is met by a strong tackle. He tries to turn and recycle and give to Dave Shanahan. Dave Shanahan takes the ball. Dave Shanahan swallowed up by Swarzeski. The Ulster fans think that was illegal by Swarzeski, but the referee allows play to continue. Filling in at scrum half is Jordy Murphy's got the ball in hand just inside his own half in the middle of the pitch. He gives it off to the right hand side, and Ulster try and get a bit of space, try and get a bit of freedom. Gives it back inside to Eric O'Sullivan. Eric O'Sullivan goes to ground and gives to Dave Shanahan. Shanahan to Burns, gives to Luddick, who almost got through there. The referee says though that Luddick went to ground, and that's it. Blows the half-time whistle. Ulster 16, Racing 92-10. Andy Moore from you in just a second, but before we get your thoughts, let's go to the sports ground where Jenny Murphy is watching Connacht against Sale in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, I seem to just have a problem with the connection with the sports ground and go at the moment, Oisin, but we will be back for second half. Andy, quick thoughts then on that first 45. A good, exciting game, and again that lethal killer instinct of Jacob Stockdale.
Yeah, fast and loose stuff. It's two teams very, very much prepared to gamble probably personified most obviously there in at 16-10 up in injury time. Ulster Racing all they needed to do was kick it dead off the scrum, and when they turned over the ball, Ulster refused to do it and ran 2 or 3 risky phases, including a 50-50 pass from Billy Burns, and I'm sure had any intercept happened, Dan McFarlane would have strangled him. But it's just the nature of the game. It's super stuff to watch, fast and loose, risky stuff. 16-10, it's been quality stuff.
Yeah, you'll be interested in this as well, I'm sure. And the penalty to Liverpool at the Amex Stadium. Mo Salah's just been fouled. He's just about to take it. He is stepping up. It's scoreless, second half just underway, and Mo Salah, left-footed, steps up and scores low into the right-hand corner. And Liverpool have gone in front away from home against Brighton right at the start of the second half. The opening 45 minutes was very, very tight. Liverpool had pretty much all the possession, but just couldn't create any chances at all in that first 45. But it was Pascal Gross, I think, who just seemed to tug on the jersey. There was a really silly tackle on the right-hand side of the area on Mo Salah. Salah goes down, steps up and takes and scores the resulting penalty. So right now, as it stands, Liverpool would reopen a 7-point lead at the top of the Premier League table. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got a double header live here on Off the Ball. Everton against Bournemouth at 1:30 with Kev and Stephen Doyle from Goodison Parkside. It's 2:15 kick-off for that one. Then at 4:30, myself and Brian Kerr will be at Wembley for the game between Tottenham Manchester United. Now, don't forget, Off the Ball are going to be previewing the Dublin Racing Festival from the Sugar Club on Thursday, January 24th. We're going to have an all-star lineup from the world of racing and beyond, including Niall Quinn, Nicky English, Davy Russell, Rachel Blackmore and Patrick Mullins. They'll be alongside Kevin Kilban, Johnny Ward, Ger Gilroy and John Duggan. We're going to be previewing a massive weekend taking place at Leopardstown Racecourse on the 2nd and 3rd of February, where top jockeys and trainers will be competing in 14 races, including 8 Grade 1 races for €1.8 million in prize money. This is an exclusive off-air event, so the only way to enjoy it is to be there on the night. Go to offtheball.com/events to get your tickets. They're free, but you must register, print them off or have them downloaded onto your smartphone. And remember, this event is for over 18s only. It's all with thanks to the Dublin Racing Festival at Leopardstown Racecourse on Saturday the 2nd and Sunday the 3rd of February. You can get your tickets for the festival now at leopardstown.com. So, good win already today for Leinster, and Ulster on course to make it 3 wins from 3 for the Irish provinces in the Champions Cup. They lead Racing 16-10. Second half commentary to come, and we'll run you down through all the latest scores in the Premier League as well.
Ulster versus Racing 92, live from Kingspan Stadium.
On Off the Ball. Tech Talk with Jess Kelly.
Coming up this week, we're taking you inside the biggest tech event of the year, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. We're here with Harvey Norman to see what products and innovations will be in our home before the year is out. We'll hop inside a driverless car and even have a go at playing table tennis with a robot.
Tech Talk with Jess Kelly.
Thanks to Harvey Norman.
Download the podcast now or tune in on Sunday at the later time of 7.
On News Talk.
What have you got for lunch, Bridget?
Just a tinned soup. What about you?
I've got a
sweet, chili, big flavor wrap with grilled chicken. It's today's wrap of the day at McDonald's.
Oh.
Live your best lunch for just €3.10 with McDonald's Big Flavour Wrap of the Day.
At Centra, we have great offers in store, like Fairy Non-Bioliquid 57-watt 2-litre, only €8. In our better than half price sale, Centra Diced Beef 410 gram was €4, now €1.95. And Innocent Smoothies just for kids 4-pack was $3.99, now $1.98 each. Centra, live every day.
If you've had a mortgage for years, or you're a first-time buyer, why pay more for mortgage protection than you have to? VHI now offer cover from as little as €7.58 per month. It's easy to set up or switch over the phone. Call us on 1890 444444 or search VHI Mortgage Protection. €7.58 per month is based on a 30-year-old non-smoker for a 20-year term and mortgage protection of €158,000, including a 10% customer discount and a 1% insurance levy. Terms and conditions apply. VHI Healthcare DAC, trading as VHI Healthcare, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland and is tied to Zurich Life Assurance plc for VHI Mortgage Protection.
If you're thinking of ordering a new Suzuki 191 model, then get down to your local Suzuki dealership now. I did, and the new Vitara was there, and it was amazing, and it's gonna be all mine. Mine! Okay, deep breath. Calm down. You're a professional. There's also dynamic four-wheel drive cars through to super stylish city cars, and they've all got unmissable 191 offers across the range. So if you haven't visited your local Suzuki dealer, then do it today. Seriously, before everyone else gets them.
Okay, so you're off to Dublin, maybe for an Aviva Stadium event, a concert or a show at the 3 Arena, RDS or Bord Gosh. You'll be needing a great place to stay, a place that's close to the entertainment and just minutes from Dublin city centre. A place with beautiful modern rooms, great bar and restaurant. A place you can book online and get the guaranteed best rates and offers direct. Well, thank goodness there's the Sandymount Hotel. Visit sandymounthotel.ie for details and bookings.
With uncertainty surrounding house prices, don't be detached from the market in 2019. Discover the potential value of your home and make informed decisions on your next property with Part 2 of the Sunday Times Property Price Guide, full of expert insight from leading estate agents. Pick up a copy of the Sunday Times this weekend or visit thetimes.ie/join.
If you're thinking of buying a residential rental property, ICS Mortgages can provide an excellent range of flexible buy-to-let mortgages, including interest-only terms of up to 15 years. We'll also help you to refinance your existing portfolio and grow your property investments. Call 1890 427 427, visit icsmortgages.ie or contact your local mortgage broker. ICS Mortgages, the property investor's choice. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply and are subject to change. The entire amount that you have borrowed will still be outstanding at the end of the interest-only period. Dilosk DAC, trading as Dilosk and ICS Mortgages, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
With a new car ad every minute on Dunne Deal, it's easy to choose one that's right for you. Whether you're planning the ultimate road trip or the school pickup, find the perfect car for any adventure on Dunne Deal. Discover and drive.
As we look to the new year ahead, take a moment to remember the young and old, the families devastated, all those who lost their lives to drowning. I'm Liam Neeson for Irish Water Safety. Always wear a life jacket on water, and remember, learning to swim, learning a life-saving skill saves lives.
At Carphone Warehouse, sticking to that resolution to save more is easy with the best deals on TV and broadband bundles. We've fantastic offers from Sky, Air, Virgin and Vodafone, saving you up to €480 over 12 months across home broadband and TV bundles. We do it all, even the hard work, so there's no need to go anywhere else to find the perfect deal just for you. Don't overpay. Switch today. Only at Carphone Warehouse, home of all the TV and broadband providers. T's and C's apply.
Start your story at the Woodies January sale with a handy 20% off all power tools. 3 for 2 on all crystal storage boxes. Save 25% on Dulux and Fleetwood interior colour paint. And all flat pack furniture and bar stools. Now half price. Woodies, we're all homemakers. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
Sale, sale, and still more sale. Bargain Town's biggest ever sale continues with fantastic bargains in every department. The Bargain Town sale continues.
The Curry's PC World sale is now on, and we've better than half price on coffee machines. Like a massive €500 off the barista-style DeLonghi Bean to Cup. Now just $3.99. Plus save over €100 on the JBL Extreme 2 portable Bluetooth speaker. Only $239. And Samsung soundbars better than half price. Nobody beats our prices fact. So sorry other stores, these are the ones you're gonna have to match. Good luck. Sale ends Tuesday. At Curry's PC World, we help you get it right.
Ulster versus Racing 92, live from Kingspan Stadium.
On Off the Ball.
Shannon goes into the middle to Burns. Burns slips it up to Coetzee. He almost bulldozed through there. He's just outside the 22. Ulster able to recycle. Now it's into the hands of Louis Luddock and his speed merchant. Luddock gets it out wide. Ulster get in for a try in the corner. It's a fantastic finish from Robert Balogun on his European debut. And Ulster are trying to make their way down the wing through Stuart McCluskey. Goes out to Luddock. Luddock to Stockdale. Peels off the defender. Stockdale crosses the line and dives over. Second try for Ulster. Only Jacob Stockdale could get a try like that.
Yeah, he is the try scorer extraordinaire. Jacob Stockdale maintaining his record of scoring a try in every single Champions Cup match this season, and it means that Ulster lead Racing by 16 points to 10 at half-time. Second half commentary to come from Kingspan Stadium with Oisin, Langan and Andy Dunne very shortly. It's been a very, very good weekend for the Irish provinces so far. Munster's brilliant win against Gloucester last night. Leinster with a bonus point victory earlier today in their match against Toulouse. 29-13 it finished up. Jack Conan, Dave Carney, Sean Cronin and Adam Byrne with the tries that put Leinster top of Pool 1. In Connacht's game in the Challenge Cup, they lead Sale by 17 points to 12 now at the sports ground in Galway. Kyle Godwin and James Mitchell with first half tries for Connacht put them 17-0 in front, but Sale, who started the game top of that pool, have started to fight back and making a real game of it. Chris Ashton with a try and then one from Faf de Klerk. I mean that there's only a score between them. There was about a quarter of an hour gone in the second half of that game at the sports ground in Galway. In the Premier League, Mo Salah has broken the deadlock at the Amex Stadium, where Liverpool now lead Brighton by 1-0 on the hour mark. Salah scoring from the penalty spot after he was brought down for that spot kick. So Liverpool, as it stands, will go 7 points clear of Manchester City at the top, and it will be a huge win, you feel, in terms of momentum for Liverpool after their back-to-back defeats to Manchester City and Wolves. City, of course, don't play until Monday night when they're at home to Wolves. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Burnley have come from behind to lead Fulham 2-1. Andrew Shurla put Fulham in front early on in that game, but then 2 own goals from Joe Bryan and Dennis Adoy have given Burnley the lead. Both of those set up by Jeff Hendrick. It's scoreless between Cardiff City and Huddersfield Town. Crystal Palace are 1-0 up at home against Watford. Another own goal from Craig Cathcart of Watford has given Palace the lead there. And it's Leicester City 0, Southampton 2. Shane Long has scored Southampton's second goal in that game. James Ward-Prowse put them in front from the penalty spot after 11 minutes. And then Long with his first goal of the season just before half-time. It means his last 4 goals for Southampton. Here's the stat for you. His last 4 league goals for Southampton have come under 4 different managers. But good to see Shane Long finally breaking his duck for the season. In fact, in that game, Leicester have just pulled a goal back. Wilfred Ndidi has scored for Leicester to make a game of it there. That would be a huge win for Ralph Hasenhüttl if Southampton could hang on to win away from home against Leicester. In Leinster's pool, the bottom 2 sides are currently playing in Bath lead Wasps by 12 points to 10. Both of those are pretty much out of it. Leinster go to Wasps for their final pool game next week. Let's hear from the Leinster coach, Leo Cullen, speaking to Conor Morris after the game.
So Leo Cullen, that must be a pretty happy Leinster dressing room in there to get a try bonus point out of a Toulouse side coming here with a potent attack and on a great run of form.
Definitely, yeah. It was a big week for a lot of our guys. Huge step up in terms of the intensity of the opposition that we faced. Toulouse, they have, as you mentioned, they've been on an incredible run of form. So it's coming away to win and obviously get a bonus point as well. We're delighted.
You spoke all week about the fact that you have faith in players coming in, and when you see 5 or 6 changes, some of those in force, some of those down to selection, and when they turn up today and they perform like the Ross Burns did, the Rory O'Loughlin, I mean, you'd be churlish to single 1 or 2 out, but it really is something that Leinster, it speaks volumes at the moment that you can make so many changes for a game of this pedigree and this high profile, and everyone knows the script and they perform so well.
Yeah, I think it's just parts of the game now are injuries. So at certain stages during the season, you're going to have to deal with a certain amount of injuries being out. I think every coach has had to deal with it. So you need to invest. I think what we try to do is invest in some of the younger guys during the course of the year, so making sure they're ready when they get their chance. So very, very positive step for a lot of guys. Even Conor O'Brien, who's in the academy, he's come through, played a lot of games. Played him. We consider registering for round 3 and 4, held off. Registering start this week. The way the week unfolds, he comes in, makes his debut off the bench today in Europe. His European debut. So again, it's an unbelievable experience for him, and guys, we better hopefully moving forward now.
It was a 1-23 effort. It always is. Gary Ringrose, deservedly man of the match, is displaying defence in particular today. I mean, in terms of the way you were able to shut down what they had coming through from the back line was incredible.
Yeah, Gary's still someone who's very, very young as well. People tend to forget. If you've been around for 2 or 3 years, people think you've been there a hell of a long time. But he's making progress all the time. Gary works incredibly hard at his game. Very, very smart footballer, and he's someone who's on top of his game, and we're very, very lucky to have him.
Tactically with Ross at 10, I don't think he kicked the ball for, could have been 35 minutes, maybe not even into the second half. Carried the ball flat and hard to the line. Something that you obviously spoke about this week.
Yeah, no, definitely. Into the win, I think it was important that we managed possession, and if we control the ball, it's it shuts down some of the threats that they have. So managing possession was going to be very important. With the win, it was going to be very difficult to kick into it. So how we control possession, and even though we get hit back a few times during the first half, we still regenerate well from slow ball. And
yeah, that's Leo Cullen. We will hear more from Leo Cullen, and we'll hear from Gary Ringrose between now and 6 o'clock. But let's get straight back to Kingspan Stadium. Ulster 16, Racing 92-10, second half just underway. Andy Dunne and Oisin Langan.
Thanks, Nathan. 22 seconds into said second half. Nothing has really happened yet. Ulster still leading by 16 points to 10. They have the ball just outside their own 22. It's zipped back to Addison, who lumps it down the line on top of Brice Dulin, the fullback of Racing 92. He crosses the 10-metre line, then goes for a little up and under. The spin is a little bit strange. Going up for it there is Geordie Murphy. Murphy drops it, but it's into the path of Eric O'Sullivan, the Ulster prop. Dave Shanahan now takes. It's moved on to Kieran Treadwell. Treadwell off to Addison again. A misguided pass, takes a ricochet. It's taken by a Racing player who has it between the 22 and the 10-metre line. I spoke to Andy Ward, the former Ulster forward, during the half-time break, and he said if Racing are allowed to build momentum, they could win this game. Ulster have to stop that momentum happening. Some of that momentum happening at the moment from what we can see. Imhoff gets up to the 22, goes to ground 6 metres off the touchline. They zip it inside to Gogshiashvili, the prop. He goes to ground just inside the 22, inside Ulster territory. Ulster get the tackle in. Infringement from Racing. They knock it forward. The referee playing advantage. Dave Shanahan at the back of the ruck gives it inside, held backwards by Alan O'Connor. I don't think there's any advantage to be played here, but the referee is allowing it to continue as Louis Luddock kind of crawls up to the edge of the 22. Dave Shanahan now there, gives it to Rory Best. Rory Best takes it 15 metres off the touchline, again inside his own 22. Ulster give it backwards, and it's going to be a big boot again from Addison, I think it is, with the right foot, and Addison couldn't get it into touch. Dulin just about keeps it in play, just inside his own half. Goose steps forward, then passes on a loop backwards into the path of Clement Shack, who's actually come in for Simon Zebo. We've just had that confirmed, so that's a bit of a loss for Racing 92, and it's a bit of a loss for the fans here as well, who I think enjoy watching Simon Zebo. He got a good try in the first half. Let's hope Simon Zebo isn't injured. Let's hope it's a tactical thing. He wasn't playing that badly or anything like that, but anyway, we'll get the thoughts of the Racing coaches afterwards. It's a knock on from Racing just shy of the Ulster 10-metre line, so it will be a scrum to Ulster, and that's a big win for Ulster early in this half to force that error. You can see that because they're all tapping each other on the back and saying well done.
Yeah, I mean, despite what both coaching teams may have said at half time, it seems the players are ignoring it. If there is any instruction, they've come out in the second half and it's a lot of huffing and puffing and ball squirting out of tackles and bouncing all over the floor. I think it was 3 turnovers there we counted in the first 2 minutes of play.
It's been a really frantic game, hasn't it?
Frantic, disjointed, but I suppose we've been subjected to a lot of dour rugby in recent years, a lot of predictable rugby, a lot of very, very physically wearing rugby for players. This is an entirely different type of game. We did anticipate it would be loose. I don't think anyone anticipated it would be this fast and this frantic, but it does make for exciting viewing.
Ulster have a scrum just short of the halfway line. They're about 14 metres in. Shot of Simon Zebo on the big screen there. He's sitting in the dugout. Doesn't appear to have any ice on him or anything like that. He's got a blanket over his leg, so maybe he's got something on the leg. But yeah, he was taken off at half time. As we say, we're not sure why, but he did get a wonderful try in the first half. The tries, by the way, for Racing coming from Zebo and Vakatawa. For Ulster, one from Balakoon, a fantastic try, and an even better one, you could argue, from Jacob Stockdale. Ulster get it going. Oh, it's a misplaced pass from Burns. It comes off a Racing player and it bounces back into the path of his Ulster teammate. He got very, very lucky there. Katsia tries to carry it up to halfway, bulldozes his way through. Dave Shanahan gets it back to Kieran Treadwell. Treadwell gains a few yards, goes to ground. Shanahan zips it back to Billy Burns. Burns to Addison. Addison tries to escape a tackle, somehow manages to get it to Balakoon. Balakoon brought to ground between the 10-metre line and the 22, or the halfway line, inside his own half. Now it's back inside to Eric O'Sullivan, the prop, who can move, who can handle. It's Shanahan who gives to Burns. Burns to McCluskey. McCluskey sweeps to Stockdale. Stockdale on the left-hand side curves his run up to halfway. It was a good run from Stockdale, who always looks dangerous with ball in hand. Burns goes inside. Now it's Treadwell who tries to get up to halfway for Ulster. Does very well. Shanahan at the back. Shanahan gives inside to Eric O'Sullivan, who cushions a ball to Marty Moore. Marty Moore gains yards. yards. This is good stuff from Ulster. Burns on it now. Burns into McCluskey. McCluskey tries to power away from the would-be tackler. He gets inside the Racing half, and he's inside that kind of 15-metre channel. Ulster recycle. It's into the hands of Eric O'Sullivan now. Now it's Dave Shanahan. Shanahan off to Will Addison. Will Addison, who impressed so well for Ireland during the November internationals and made a lot of England fans very jealous that they didn't hang on to him. Great offload to Stuart McCluskey, but McCluskey couldn't go anywhere. He was absolutely surrounded. Surely Laurie has gone offside there. He's got to step through the ruck. He kind of went through the gate, and it's a penalty to Ulster just inside the Racing half, about 17 metres off the touchline. So I imagine this one will go to the corner, and the wind has died down.
There's been a number of just small moments of brilliance from Addison. He's just shown a full repertoire of his skills. As I said, has kicked off both feet, has taken the penalties to touch, progressed to doing the place kicking. Distribution is excellent. He's very, very evasive when he's carrying the ball. He's shown real ability in this game. Really exciting for Irish fans.
Made 28 metres in the first half with 6 carries and 8 tackles. As I say, a lot of people in England wondering why Eddie Jones didn't try and get him involved. He's exactly the kind of player England need. They've got a lot of meat and maybe not enough brain. Anyway, the line out isn't particularly well executed from Ulster. It fell down to Nakarawa, and now they sweep across the park. It's a great break out of their own 22 by Racing. Tackles made by Ulster. Racing for now stopped up, and they'll recycle here. Sparzewski tackle, bounces back up, crawls, makes a few hard meters. Now it's Machino back inside, found Leroux with the pass, and now they go out wide again, and it's Nakarawa who finds his way to the wing. What an attempted offload that was. If he made it, it would have been great. He didn't. It was intercepted by Balogun, but Balogun didn't have the kind of time and space to run with the ball. He does keep his head though, and Dave Shanahan on it now, gives it off to Marcel Coetzee. Ulster with the ball in the ruck just inside the Racing 10-metre line. Addison on it again, gives to Ludick out to Jacob Stockdale tries to get away from a Racing tackler, goes very well, gets it to McCluskey grubs it along the ground, it bounces inside the 22, getting it crosses, I think Machino tries to step around a few Ulster players, does really well, sidesteps up to the 22, gets it off to Doolan a little bit isolated, but he does get the pass off to the right shoulder, and it's Laurie who gets up to halfway. Laurie knocks it out of his hands after he's tackled hard. Ulster now on the ball. The referee allows it to continue, and everyone thought he was going to bring it back. Now he does bring it back after a crazy period of play. 6.5 minutes gone in the second half here in Kingspan Stadium. Live and off the ball. It's Ulster 16, Racing 10, and it's just a crazy game.
Yet again, I mean, Ulster have they're varying their positions on the field. They're not structured in their position. Will Addison has been in at 10. He's thrown the ball out to Stockdale in the centre, who's thrown it to McCluskey on the wing. McCluskey does a left foot grubber through.
It's like playing chess on a roller coaster.
Absolutely. Billy Burns was one who followed up from fullback, so that's 4 guys out of position in their back line. But what about Machino's gathering that left foot grubber through from McCluskey, sidestepping 4 to 5 Ulster defenders and launching a counter attack from deep in his own half? It's end-to-end stuff.
It's a bit of a break in play. The players deserving and needing a breather. 6.5 minutes into the second half. A game which Ulster really do have to win, even if it's without the bonus point. Beaten 44-12 in the Euro Arena earlier in the pool, but they won back-to-back games against Scarlets in the last couple of rounds. Games that they absolutely had to win, and they did. Racing also winning their back-to-back games, those against Leicester. So Ulster will play Leicester in Welford Road next week in what could be a season-defining game.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, interesting here looking at Ulster's setup from the scrum. They've formed a little triangle in midfield.
And Ulster have to put in at the scrum. Dave Shanahan gives it off now to Will Addison looping his run around. It's Stockdale shakes off a tackler. He's over the 10-metre line. He's approaching the 22. It's the chip and chase that we saw against New Zealand. It's unbelievable. It's like the try we saw against New Zealand. It's Jacob Stockdale. He's a miracle man. Ulster 21, Racing 92-10. That is the most Jacob Stockdale try you'll ever see. It's beautiful. It's poetry in motion. It's Ulster with 3 tries.
He's a phenomenal finisher. It's exactly what happened in the New Zealand game in terms of the set piece play. It was in the New Zealand game, it was off a line out where they hit midfield and hit Bundy Aki and went back and caught the All Blacks sleeping. Exact same as happened here off a midfield scrum. We mentioned Ulster set up with a very obscure looking triangular system in attack, and what they did was hit the ball to Addison, who went back down the blind side, hit Stockdale on the halfway line in a one-on-one setting against his opposite number. He stood him up, handed him off, went around him, came to the fullback, chipped over left foot. He got a little bit lucky with the bounce on this occasion, went infield when it hit the floor on the second bounce. Racing were over covering, I suppose, at that stage, trying to corner flag, and Stockdale's run in under the post. Pretty phenomenal stuff.
Jacob Stockdale's second try of the game. If you get the chance to watch the highlights tonight, do, because it will be worth it for watching that try alone. Addison adds the conversion, the first of their 3 tries that they've converted. Ulster now leading by 23 points to 10 against Racing 92. We've got 48 and a half minutes gone into Kingspan. I know Ulster have a lead. It's a 13-point gap, but given the nature of this game and everything we've seen so far, you wouldn't rule out a Racing comeback.
Stockdale's got a bit of box office about him. Just watching the replay, he's brought the whole stadium to his feet once again. It's pretty exciting stuff. Racing from the kickoff have committed a tackle on the Ulster player in midair. There's the crowd are going after the referee, looking for a card. Hard to see on this replay. And in fairness, the Racing player on the replay has left the ground. He's competed for the ball in midair, and there has been contact. So I think at worst a yellow card, but probably that would be harsh.
That's Clement Shack who's come on for Simon Zebo. While all that's happening, while we're waiting for the resulting penalty to be taken, let's go to Crystal Palace against Watford in the Premier League. Watching for off the ball, Andrew Cheal.
Palace 1, Watford 1. Craig Cathcart, the scorer of the equaliser. Remember, it was him that put Palace ahead in the first half with an own goal. Well, now he's scored at the right end. Holybash with the corner, really vicious in-swinging one. Goalkeeper lost it completely. Cathcart, far post, guided his header over the line. It's Palace 1, Watford 1.
Ulster have launched the resulting penalty up the sideline, and now they have the line out just inside their own half. It's knocked down and it comes to Stuart McCluskey. Now it's Jacob Stockdale looking at for a hat-trick. Stockdale gives across to Balakoon. Balakoon has to jump high in the air to take it. It wasn't a great pass from Stockdale. He tries to place it on the ground, and the referee says that Ulster, I think they were offside, and it's a penalty to Racing. 5 metres off the right touchline as Ulster would look down the park into the memorial end.
A lot of invention there again off the set piece. Halfway line, a line out from Ulster, but again they've actually moved positions. They're starting with Stuart McCluskey in as first receiver, Will Addison out the back door, and Billy Burns in at full back. And very, very typically, if you can hear the crowd in the background, Finn Russell has kicked the penalty dead.
Finn Russell kicking the penalty dead, and the Ulster crowd not too sympathetic. Were they as sympathetic to you a couple of years ago in that game you mentioned?
I think they actually were. They felt so sorry for me. But I think Finn Russell here, Nathan asked, before the game, why has he got his critics? I mean, there's the answer. You're 23 down away from home in Europe. You've managed to stem the tide for a minute or two and got a penalty, and your forward pack are panting, and you just kick it into the corner, get your penalty, and he kicks it dead. It took an unnecessary amount of yardage out of that ball. He could have comfortably gone up to the Ulster 22, went for the $1 million play, but I suppose that's why he's got his critics.
So Ulster have the scrum between the halfway line and the 10-metre line, about 7 metres off the touchline. Dave Shanahan takes from the back. Great handling by Burns, who gives to McCluskey. McCluskey is hit hard, but still offloads to Balakoon. Balakoon goes on a run, gets up to halfway, goes to the ground, tries to place. Dave Shanahan is there. He's played really well, and it's a tough ask for him today because he came in late for John Cooney. Now the ball makes its way back to Kutsia, who is starting from the 10-metre line, tried to charge up the park. It pops out of his hands and squirts into the path of a Racing player. Now it's Machino who just flings it out to the right-hand side. Chavante with a lovely little backhanded pass, and they're racing up the wing. It's Dunne who's inside the 22. Dunne is a little bit isolated, goes to ground, waits for the cover to come, waits for the Cameroon to come. They knock it on, and it's an Ulster scrum. That's a great result for Ulster.
Very, very dangerous up that right hand side again. There was 2 passes in a row flicked out of the right hand just off the hip, Sonny Bill Williams style from 2 of the Racing players. Again showed how dangerous a threat they are with turnover possession. But yeah, knock on again. They're really lacking in being clinical in where it matters in the red zone, as that cliche goes, up where it matters in that Ulster territory. They've surrendered possession far too easily.
So it's an Ulster scrum. halfway between their own try line and the 22, about 3 metres off the touchline. If you were them, would you just get it in, get it to the back, get it cleared?
Well, it depends. Yeah, they haven't displayed any appetite to do that today. They've had to go from almost everywhere, and they have lined up like they may attack again.
Dave Shanahan feeds the scrum. We'll go over for an update from the game between Brighton and Liverpool in just a second, but let's see how this plays out for Ulster. Stuart McCluskey takes it. He's 15 metres outside of his own try line, goes to ground. They try and recycle. I imagine the kick will come now. It's passed back into the fullback position where Stockdale is slotted in, and Stockdale left footed clears it down the line, but it's kept in play by Clement Shack, who flings it back inside to Dunne, who crosses the 10 metre line and kind of dances up towards halfway. So while all that's happening, let's cross over to the Amex for Brighton against Liverpool and Richard Newman.
Brighton don't have Albion 0, Liverpool 1. The Premier League leaders still ahead by that early second half penalty from Mohamed Salah, and they threatened a second too. Roberto Firmino firing at David Button from the edge of the box, but the Brighton keeper struggled to gather, but did manage to get his block in. But Albion so strong at home, starting to be a threat in forward positions at times, livened up by the introduction of Anthony Knockaert and Florin and Dunne. Jurgen Locadia forced Alisson into a save from a shot from long range. It wasn't on target, but the Brazilian wasn't certain. Liverpool still lead by a goal to nil.
Thank you very much. That's Richard Newman at the Amex for Brighton against Liverpool. 54 minutes almost gone here as Racing go up the right hand side and try and get in. They're inside the 22. Cover tackle comes across from Ulster. Ball in the back of the ruck. Machino gives it inside to Finn Russell. Russell with a beautiful spin pass, and they try to offload. It falls on the ground. It's a lucky break for Racing, and again it's a lucky break. Vakatawa runs onto it, but he can't hang on to it, and it's knocked on, and it's a scrum for Ulster. Ulster lead by 13, but they're living on the edge here. It's mistakes from Racing that I won't say it's keeping Ulster in the game, but it's stopping that gap from being closed.
Camera goes over to Laurent Labé up in the coaching box. He's French expletives quite clearly. They can't get out of their own way. They could have walked in that try from right to left. Finn Russell again overcomplicated the play. He had a simple 3 men outside him with 1 defender to beat. Look to take on the defender and make the pass around the back. It's unnecessary complicated with an overlap. They could have walked it in, and then I think Vakatawa just spills it. Spills the broken ball when again he had the line at his mercy. So I suppose Racing being the architect of their own demise here, it looks like.
And he looks really frustrated. Colum is in for Racing, with Ulster having to put into the scrum in the shadow of their own posts. There's been a goal at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace taking on Watford. Watching for off the ball Andrew Cheal.
Palace 1, Watford 2. Cracking goal by Tom Cleverley, only just on as a substitute. The corner was half cleared, and with his right foot he sent a volley really well controlled into the top corner. The Watford fans have just been singing the name of Graham Taylor, who died 2 years ago to the day, and they've been singing his name and waving their scarves in tribute. Now they're singing the name of Tom Cleverley. It's Palace 1, Watford 2.
Thank you very much. That's Andrew Cheal at Selhurst Park. 55 minutes gone here at the Kingspan Stadium. It's live and off the ball. It's the Heineken Champions Cup. It's Ulster who are leading Racing 92 by 23 points to 10. They have the scrum in the shadow of their own post. You haven't missed anything. Addison receives it 5 metres outside of his own in-goal area, and he kicks it down the park with a right-footed kick. And it will be a line out to Racing halfway between the 10 metre line and the 22 inside the Ulster half.
I've been banging on a bit about the tactic that seems to be prevalent in Irish rugby at the moment, the number 9s kicking high and shallow box kicks deep in our own territory. Well, it seems Ulster have abandoned that, thankfully in my opinion, and they're beginning to pass deep to a first receiver who's kicking long. It's getting them out of their territory. It's safer against this really, really threatening and dangerous Racing attack.
Laurie took the ball well in the line out, and now they form them all and they roll up towards that 22. Swarzewski takes it, tries to break away. It pops out and it comes to Burns, but it is a penalty to Racing. Ulster offside. And there's a little bit of afters. Tempers not quite boiling over, but certainly simmering nicely. Ulster 23, Racing 92-10. Earlier on, Leinster beating Toulouse, and last night Munster beating Gloucester. We'll be going back over to the sports ground for Connacht against Sale in a couple of moments' time. Jenny Murphy watching that one for off the ball. Will Racing go to the corner, or will they try and take 3 here? I think they might go to the corner because they probably know they need a try. Russell to the corner. Last time he kicked it dead. This time no issue. They'll have the line out about 6 metres short of the Ulster try line.
It's a precarious lead at 23-10. It's Racing side look like they can turn it on at any given moment. Squeaky bum time for Ulster, 5 metres out from their own line.
So Swarzewski, the man with the best hair in World Rugby, outside of Jerry Flannery. He finds Nakarawa in the line out. Ulster try to sack him and try to stop them all from rolling forward. They've done that for now, but it's still a Racing ball. Machino takes it from the back of the ruck, which is 6 metres from the Ulster try line, about 2 metres off the touchline, gives it inside. They try and bulldoze their way through. They're 4 metres short now. A Racing try in the next couple of minutes would really explode this game back into life. Here's Claessens, who tries to step around and then over. He's tackled, but he's only 2 metres short. Racing still with the ball. Machino goes inside, taken by Vakatawa. Vakatawa slips it off. They try to slither through. They're just short of the line. Ulster have to be so careful here. Racing living on the Ulster line at the moment in that 5 metre channel. Referee having a look. He sticks his arm out, but he doesn't blow the whistle. He doesn't stop play. Laurie makes his way up for Racing. It's still at the back of that ruck. What are they going to do? They pick and try and go, pick and jab. That's the tactic from Racing at the moment. Ulster manning the defensive lines, and now they give it a bit of air, go out to the right hand side. They're going to run it into Doolan. Doolan gets over the line and the gap is narrowed. 58 minutes gone. Ulster 23, Racing 92, 15, an 8-point gap with the conversion attempt to come. With that, let's go to the sports ground to see how Connacht are getting on against Sale in the Challenge Cup. Watching for Off the Ball, Jenny Murphy. Jenny.
It's 2018 to Connacht at the moment. Sale have been slowly knocking scores over, took the lead, but a kick has now put Connacht back in front. It's been ferocious. Sale has had a purple patch, but Connacht have kind of ground back into it, really putting pressure, putting kicks through the backfield. It's currently in the 22, line out to Connacht. It's looking good here so far. Fields of Athenry are going strong.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Connacht leading against Sale at the moment. 59 minutes gone here in Kingspan Stadium. It's 23-15, but we have the conversion attempt to come from Finn Russell. We'll get Andy Dunn's breakdown of that try in just a moment. Russell with the attempted conversion about 13 metres in off the right touchline into the memorial end here at a full Kingspan Stadium, which is generating quite an atmosphere today. Can he narrow the gap even further and make it a 6-point game? No, he can't. Well, we talked about Ulster's poor kicking from conversion attempts earlier on, maybe costing them. You could say the same about Racing, but basically, Andy, that try was all about pick and jab, and then move it wide.
Yeah, they sucked in the Ulster defence from I suppose from multiple rucks from that line out, and then they have that capacity to throw a pass at the last second. Two kind of over the head offloads again, which we've seen characteristic of their general attack. Were far too flaky from Russell again. It was a crucial kick to put them 6 points behind. The Racing team, this 20-minute period are the types of periods that make a coach age. 20 minutes left. It's horrible stuff for Dan McFarlane.
With his team leading by 23 points to 15, it's an 8-point gap, but Racing have looked dangerous all day. They look dangerous again at the moment, even though they're still inside their own 22. Imhoff took it, but it was a good covering tackle coming across from Will Addison. He's been immense for Ulster today. At the back of the ruck, it's Machino. Machino goes inside, and the ball is swept by Palu. Racing have it in the middle, and they get up to the edge of their own 22. Now they're just outside of it. Machino to the back of the ruck again. Machino looks right and doesn't dummy, goes right. Again it's Palu, and now it's Nakarawa who makes a break up towards the 10-metre line. He's clamped by Dave Shanahan, a mismatch in size, but not in effort. Shanahan did really well to hold Nakarawa up. Racing now recycle the ball. They have it in the middle of the park, just inside their own 10-metre line. This is a real belter to watch. It's an up and down game. It's topsy-turvy. We've seen a bit of everything. Now it's Laurie on the right hand side in that 15-metre channel, approaching the kind of 5-metre channel, goes to ground. Machino again at the back. Machino goes inside. It's a pass inside to LaRue. LaRue couldn't break through. He was tackled well, but Ulster haven't rolled away, I think is what the referee is saying. And it's a penalty to Racing on their own 10-metre line, about 16 metres in off the right touchline as Racing play up the park.
I see. I was going to ask you, could someone explain to me why Machino is not taking place kicks? Russell has been beyond flaky in this first 61 minutes, but lo and behold, we see Teddy Ariba coming on. I wonder, is he going to come on at 9 and Machino to 10?
Also coming on, Kakoven, the 29-year-old Georgian international, formerly of Brize and Toulouse. In his younger days, he was a back row, but now he's very much a prop.
I see they've stuck with Finn Russell at 10. They've brought a straight swap, Ariba in for Machino, and I would have thought that includes the responsibility of place kicking for the last crucial 18-19 minutes.
So Racing with the line out inside the Ulster 10 metre line, but it was made a mess of, and it spills back on the Ulster side, and now it's Kutsia who tries to break from outside his own 22. Shanahan takes in the back of the ruck. Racing press right up, almost an intercept there. Luckily for Ulster, it wasn't gathered. It is taken by I think it was Ludick who got to it there. He went out the back door. Shanahan now has it. Here is Sean Reedy. Sean Reedy had to jump into the path of the ball, which meant he couldn't get any momentum or run going. He did very well to keep it alive. Shanahan at the back of the ruck. Now it's spun inside, and Ulster are trying to break away from inside their own 22. Dave Shanahan at the back of the ruck gives it back. Addison kicks it down the line. It bounces shy of the 10 metre line into the path of Doolan, who got the last try for Racing in this game. Doolan kind of goose steps inside the 10 metre line, makes his way through a gap. He's up to the 22. He has support, gives it inside to Irabaran, who is tackled to ground 7 or so metres short. They're deep inside the Ulster territory. Swarzeski gives it inside to LaRue. LaRue gets out of the tackle. Now it's back to Swarzeski. Swarzeski tries to loop a run around. He's under the post, 7 metres shy. Irabaran at the back of the ruck, gives it out to the right hand side. They spring it wide to Racing, and now it's Claessens. Claessens back inside. They're going to run it through. It's a 4th try for Racing. It's Clement Shack who finished it off, the man who came on for Simon Zebo at half time. 63 minutes gone at Kingspan Stadium. Ulster 23, Racing 92-20.
It's like watching the LA Lakers. I've never seen a side who pass like this so frequently over the head of a tackler. As soon as the tackler drops his height, they raise their arms. I suppose historically coaches would say don't do it. You're exposing your rib cage. You're going to get smashed. You're going to physically not have the strength to withstand that, and you're going to lose possession. But they're flying in the face of years of technical coaching, and probably every chance they get in a one-on-one tackling situation, they're looking to wriggle their arms free. Again, they've passed 2 overhead flick passes. LA Lakers.
Both from forwards.
Yeah, second row.
Nakarawa
to Claessens. Claessens feeds it back inside to Nakarawa over the head of Stockdale, and they jogged it in again. And not surprising, we're seeing Irabaran or Irabaran, which is taking the place kick. We need a linguistics expert in here. I think Irabaran. Irabaran sounds more French.
My French pronunciation.
Irabaran.
You know how cultured I am. So, Irabaran or Irabaran, depending on what part of France you're in.
Oh, touché.
Yeah, it's a total excuse. Launches the kick. Can he narrow the gap to just 1 point? Yes, he can. And immediately, their kicking has improved. There was nothing wrong with their execution when it came to chances. Before that, there's 1 point between them. Ulster 23, Racing 92-22, and we've got 16 minutes to go to the end of the game. And Rory Best is done.
Raft of substitutions, yeah. I think it's the full front row. Zarzewski goes off for Racing.
So Ulster have emptied the bench. Obviously Dan McFarlane feels maybe they need to freshen up, or maybe this was predetermined. Maybe he said give it everything you can for 64 minutes because then you're all coming off. Andrew Warwick among those who's come in. Rob Herring in. Ross Kane in. Racing with the ball just outside the 22. It is Laurie who tries to run. He meets a red wall. Ulster in the red jerseys today. It's a little chip over the top from Finn Russell. Chasing after it is Wakatawa. He couldn't get there. Will Addison takes it well on the 10 metre line. Inside the Racing half. Does really well. Gets it to Shanahan. Shanahan to Herring. Burns gives it off to Sean Reedy. Sean Reedy went out wide, and Ulster try and run it up the park. Stuart McCluskey with a powerful surging drive inside the 10 metre line. Referee says it's okay in the ruck. A lot of fans thought maybe there was an infringement there. Shanahan with a bit of a messy pass falls back into the path of Sean Reedy, who's just shy of the 10 metre line inside the Racing half. Shanahan gives to Burns. Burns off to Jordy Murphy. Murphy to Burns. Now an attempted break up the park by Addison. What a beautiful pass from the ground from Addison to Balakoon. Balakoon inside the 10 metre line, between the 10 metre line and the 22. Dave Shanahan back to Burns, who's on the 10 metre line. He gives to Sean Reedy, who kind of sets himself, then tries to go for a spinning run up to the 10 metre line. Stopped short, and Ulster have to go again. Billy Burns with a low bootlaces ball out to the wing, but it's somehow collected by the man who was out there. Couldn't quite see who it was because he got swallowed up as soon as he received the ball. Now it's Rob Herring who goes on a charge. He's injected a bit of energy in there. Marcel Kutsia gives it back. Addison takes it. Addison is tackled very strong by Irabaran, and the referee's given a penalty.
Something else, this Oisin. Watching the way Ulster play, if Joe Schmidt had voodoo dolls, I think 5 of these Ulster lads would be dead. Complete flagrant lack of responsibility in mind and possession, but nonetheless somehow holding on to it. Will Addison out the back door on all fours, getting tackled by 2 Racing defenders, flicks it out to Balacombe, who makes a 15-yard sidestep and run, jinking infield. It's magic stuff to watch.
Well, I heard someone ask Dan McFarlane before this game, is this a season-defining game? Because they're 5th in their conference in the Pro 14 at the moment. They're struggling in that. And even though technically they could qualify next week, even if they lost today, you would really have to say it is season-defining.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at Ulster from the start of the year, and I suppose anything would be an improvement on the horrific year they had last year, but to be in a realistic chance of qualifying out of their group is an incredible achievement for Dan McFarland and his management team and their squad.
Yep. Racing with the line out on the 22. Claessens receives it after it was knocked off the top. He's tackled inside the 22, and Racing recycle from the back of the ruck. Now it's taken by Ira Barron, who gives it off to the hands of, I think that's Bigney, who's come in. He's in the middle of the 22 by the time he's brought to ground. They're about 5 metres inside that 22. Now it's Laurie who has a go, and they try and recycle. It goes loose. It's dived on brilliantly by Rob Herring. He has done well since he's come in. Ulster secure possession. Shanahan gives it back out there to Ross Kane. Kane with a bit of a loose one. Somehow Addison receives it and keeps it alive, then sprints towards the 22, the edge of it, goes to ground, tries to recycle. Brilliant stuff from Addison. The referee says I think there was a high tackle in there. It's a penalty to Ulster. Addison, though, that was fantastic from him. 68 minutes gone, live and off the ball. Ulster 23, Racing 92, 22. Oh, it was a high and loose tackle by one of the Racing players there. I think it was Vakatawa. Yeah, it was Vakatawa, and he might be lucky not to see a card for that.
Can we take into account he was raising his arm as he slipped to say sorry? Took his boots off before he kicked him in the face.
Connacht adding to a good weekend so far for the Irish provinces. They've beaten Sale by 20 points to 18. That one going on in the sports ground. Can Ulster make it 4 out of 4 for Irish provinces this weekend? They're just about hanging on in there. Dave Shanahan under a high ball from Racing just outside the 22, goes to ground. Ulster have it at the back of the ruck. There are so many twists and turns left in this game, you feel, given what we've seen so far. Well taken by Kotsia, who runs up to the edge of his own 22. Shanahan tries to dig it out there, gives it backwards, and I think that's Addison who takes. Addison on the right boot, kicks it down the line, and it bounces out just shy of the 10-metre line inside the Ulster half. It will be a line out to Racing 92.
I would have liked to see Billy Burns take a bit of pressure off Addison there. Addison's had a breakout from underneath his own posts. He's had a high tackle. He's managed to withstand that, ride the challenge, get to the 22, and when Ulster get the ball back on their own 22 again, Billy Burns needs to step up to the plate, take some responsibility off his shoulders, because that was a tired looking clearance from Addison, and understandably so. He managed to hack his way with a right footed kick to about 20 yards in front of the 22, but that's where your out half in Burns needs to take some more responsibility.
And Burns has gone off. Mike Lowry has come in. Mull has formed on the far side as we look, and it's Racing ball, and now they're after breaking off and they're kind of doing the pass the parcel thing. The move breaks down on the 10-metre line. Ulster get the tackles in, but Racing are able to recycle. Here's Claessens, who's playing like a young fella despite the fact that he's 34. He's been all over the place today, and he's given off some great passes. Racing again going out wide. Ulster again shutting the door, but again Racing just taking their time and being patient. Imhoff receives it and is tackled into touch by a mixture of Balakoon and Ludwig, and it will be an Ulster line out between the 22 and the 10-metre line inside their own half.
Super tackle, cover tackle by Ludic, and Balakoon double teamed him into touch there. That's the type of lift that they need, this Ulster side. 23-22 rather, with 10 minutes on the clock. They need those big hits, those moments of physicality and courage to bring the crowd back into this game. Hanging in by the skin of their teeth.
Rob Herring goes to the back of the line out. It's a really good run as well. It was taken well by Treadwell, who leaped high in the air to take it. Into the last 10 minutes of this Champions Cup encounter, Ulster will have the scrum just outside of their own 22, and they won't mind this game being slowed down, because again, going back to Andy Ward's point when we spoke to him at half time, he said you just can't let Racing build momentum.
Yeah, again, from a bit of experience, the old stager Andy Ward, the Ballinhinch man. Yeah, it's quite obvious. looking from afar that one of the senior pros ought to slow that game down and use up the clock, but they're not littered with experience throughout that pack. We talked about how vulnerable Ulster are underneath that first choice 15, and they've reached deep into that squad already with 8 minutes to go. If they get through this, it's going to be a huge learning experience for those younger players and less experienced players. They've now got their second choice 9 and 10 to try and command them through the last 9 minutes in Shanahan and Michael Lowry.
Ulster with the put into the scrum. There's a bit of a delay because the referee has a word with the two front rows. Ulster won't mind that at all. They lead by a point, 23 points to 22. The atmosphere is kind of strange now because the Ulster fans know their season is on the line essentially here. Fed by Shanahan. Then he goes to the back and starts it up himself. Gives it to Stuart McCluskey, who's broken through a tackle, gets up to the 10-metre line. Then he's tackled, but Shanahan was there with them all the way. Now it's Mike Lowry. Mike Lowry gets it up to the halfway. Good run from him, good break, slipped off a few tackles. Shanahan back inside. Ulster doing really well here and building momentum themselves. Shanahan takes it again. Claessens leaps on him, brings him to ground, but Shanahan has the wherewithal to place it, and Ulster get going again as Racing desperately try to turn this one over, but can't. It's caught in a ruck at the moment. 8 minutes to go. Ulster leading by a point. Went into the hands of Andrew Warwick, who showed good presence of mind to just pass it off to the right hand side. Now it's Herring. Herring took it, turned his back, dropped it. It's hacked forward by Racing. Balakoon is on it. He's just outside his own 22. He's running and turning and twisting and looking for options. He did well. He kept his head. Support comes. Shanahan from the back of the ruck gives it to Addison. Addison chips it along the ground, and it was dived on there by a Racing man who did really well. He's trying to keep it alive. He's trying to keep his feet inside touch, and he did extremely well to do that. Irvaran gives it inside to Nakarawa. Nakarawa tries to brush off Rob Herring, which isn't easy to do. He doesn't manage to do so, but they have kept it alive. Irvaran back inside. Now it's Avola Vola who's come off the bench. He celebrates his 28th birthday tomorrow. He's looking for the win to celebrate. It's a loose pass. Lowry almost onto it for Ulster. It bounces just inside the Racing half, but they have managed to secure it again. 7 minutes to go. Ulster by 1. Racing work it on the right hand side, and they try and bash and slither and mix it up, and now they get inside the Ulster half. Ruck forms. Referee having a look. He says no, everything's okay at the moment. They're in a barn there again. Ulster have turned it over brilliantly. Now it's into the hands of Andrew Warwick. Warwick moves it to Addison. McCluskey takes it. Tries to brush off a mixture of Vakatawa and Nakarawa. That's not easy to do. Did well though. Got inside the half. However, Ulster have been turned over. Now it's Shavonte. Shavonte with the chip and chase. Was he illegally interfered with on the way through there? I'm not sure. The referee lets it go. They have kept the ball. They have kept it going. Here's Sudan on the 10-metre line. Makes his way up towards the 22. Pops it out of the tackle. It's good stuff from Racing, who are going through the hands at the moment. Important tackle coming in there from an Ulster covering player who got across and stopped him short just at the 22. Racing with it at the back of the ruck, trying to create something, trying to make an opening. Here is Imhoff. Imhoff goes short. It's LaRue. LaRue goes to ground. Irvaran gives to Claessens, who's in the middle of the park just outside the 22. Again he's turning and twisting again. Racing recycle. 6 minutes to go. Ulster by 1. The fans get behind them. The Ulster team need that at the moment. They need the atmosphere is good and as intimidating as possible. Still Racing put it through the hands. Still Racing with the penalty. Then they infringe, and it's a penalty to Ulster just inside their own 22, middle of the park, and it's greeted like it's a score by the Ulster fans.
Jordy Murphy coming in with probably the most crucial play of the game for him so far, with 5.5 minutes to go. Racing player got isolated. Murphy came in over the ball. He didn't release. A crucial penalty with 5 minutes and 3 seconds on the clock.
Ulster in no rush to take this penalty here. The clock has stopped at 75. Ulster 23, Racing 92. 22.
A real sense of energy around the stadium here. This is a club and a province and organisation who've had to endure a pretty horrific 18 months. They've had a change of CEO, they've had a change of coach, they've had multiple personnel changes. They've brought in guys like Jordy Murphy. Crowd on their feet singing "Stand Up" for the Ulster men with 4 minutes 55 seconds to go. It's been an absolutely classic encounter. Let's hope they can hang on.
Well, there are 5 points behind Racing coming into today.
They're walking into this line out. You mentioned Andy Ward talking about slowing the game down. smart stuff. Okay, they don't need to get to that line out early. They need to slow it right down. They need to take the zip out of that Racing attack.
Herring with the line out on his own 10-metre line. Jordy Murphy takes it well, but then he loses it, and Racing have it back, and they're racing up the left-hand side. It's a brilliant piece of play from Bakataro, who gets it off to Imhoff. Imhoff in the corner.
It's a borderline forward pass.
The lead. Racing 27, Ulster 23, or was.
It's a forward pass. Forward pass.
I couldn't actually hear it. You were shouting it for a couple of seconds. Well, it's a let-off for Ulster, because that was a bad and unforced error from Racing.
Well, it's Ulster surrendering territory so easily. A cut-out pass, I mean a brilliant cut-out pass that again is the strength of Finn Russell.
So Ulster will have the scrum 5 metres from their own line. 76 minutes and 22 seconds on the clock. They still somehow lead by 1.
That's out of jail if ever I saw it.
Maybe, just maybe, Ulster's luck is changing. Their tries so far coming from Balakoon and 2 from Stockdale. For Racing, they've got 4, so they've got a bonus point anyway. They might lead this game with 2, which wouldn't be bad. The referee says that Racing engaged early, so it's a free kick to Ulster.
I think it's a bit harsh on Racing. First time the referee's pulled up for an early engage. A brand new free kick with 3 minutes to go in the game. There's been multiple scrums, there's been multiple engagements very, very similarly.
Oh, it's going to stay alive. Imhoff runs after it. It bounces into the path of Dunne. Dunne with a little sidestep. Herring grabs him and tries to hold him up. It was a
head
brilliant
collision
play
with
from
Addison.
Herring. Addison is standing off play at the moment. He looks a little bit dazed. They need to get him off. They need to get him checked. The safety is the most important thing. LaRue takes the ball, charges into contact. Racing going again from an Ulster mistake. And now Ulster try and turn it over, but they haven't managed to do so. It's Shavante who's on it for Racing, just inside the Ulster half. Now it's Claessens who breaks up towards the 10-metre line. He's tackled, he's isolated, and the referee says offside against Racing, and it's a penalty for Ulster. And now the medics get into Will Addison. And there's a little bit of afterwards between Racing and Ulster.
Oh, it's properly kicked off down there. Well, it's properly kicked off can be in a professional game. Lots of gripping each other's collars, arm's length.
Well, Ulster almost playing their way into trouble again. Addison had the free kick, which he just kicked down the line. He didn't kick it dead, and it bounced into the path of Dunne, who went for a run. Racing kept it alive, and then they infringed. And that is what, I won't say again, that is what has kept Ulster in the game. It's what kept them in front. Ulster have lived dangerously, so dangerously in the second half.
Even the penalty from their own or the free kick from the resultant scrum, it was a dodgy decision in favour of Ulster. All they've got to do is put it in touch, and they've missed it.
And Addison does put this penalty in touch from his own 10-metre line. 2 minutes to go. It's a line out to Ulster on the Racing 10-metre line.
Who'd be a coach? Poor old Dan McFarlane.
Rob Herring in no rush here.
Biggest 2 minutes Ulster have had in a number of years.
Herring throws it to the back. Jordy Murphy takes it, the Leinsterman, or the former Leinsterman. Now Ulster maul forward. All they have to do is eat up the clock, keep the possession, keep going through the phases. The maul inside the Racing 10-metre line, about 15 metres in off the touchline. Shanahan takes it, tries to snake through. Now he's got support from his teammates, and they drive up towards the 22. It's off the back, and it's into the hands of Ross Kane, the prop. He goes to ground. Dave Shanahan gets to the back of the ruck, again in no rush to offload this. Eventually he does pass it, and Ulster recycle again. And now they've got the penalty. They've got a penalty between the 10-metre line and the 22 in a very kickable position.
Well, you have an interesting decision to make here with less than 60 seconds to go. If they opt to go for goal, does he kick it wide on purpose? I mean, if he goes for goal and it hits the post, Racing could go the length of the field. So does he need to go for the post, or does he just need to make sure he kicks it dead?
Well, the clock has stopped on 79:09. So basically,
he's
all
60
they have to
seconds.
do is,
all he needs to do is kick that ball wide and dead. I mean, if he goes for that and he hits the post, and the place kicking has not been top calibre today, I actually think it's worth consideration. Kick it wide, kick it high, left and wide, and the game is over.
And somehow Ulster will have won it.
Yeah, despite their own best efforts to throw it away.
Racing will still take 2 points in this game. They'll be happy enough with that.
If it's not over.
Well, given the nature of this game, it certainly isn't over yet. But the clock is back on. Addison is placing the ball on the tee. He has a minute to take it, and the clock started at 79:09.
So we're on 79:35. He's about 25 seconds left to kick it, but I hope to hell he kicks it wide.
I appreciate we're here as commentators, but this is the kind of game where I would actually struggle to explain it. What we can tell you is that Ulster have a penalty, and they're 1 point in front, and we're about to hit the red numbers. It's struck by Addison. It's got the air. Doesn't have the
kicked it over.
Yes, he does. Ulster by 4. Ulster 26. Racing 92. 22.
Well, it looks like the ball's gone over 2 to 3 seconds before the clock hit 80 minutes, so the ref has decided to play on.
So Racing have the restart. All Ulster have to do is gather it and kick it dead. Nothing fancy. What a game Addison has had, by the way. He kicked 2 penalties in a conversion, and he's just been absolutely immense. So here we go. Ulster need to get it in their hands and get it off the park. It's received and it's knocked into the crowd, and somehow Ulster have beaten Racing 92 in a most extraordinary game here at Kingspan. The final score, Ulster 26, Racing 92-22. Ulster's chances of reaching the quarterfinals in the Heineken Champions Cup for the first time since 2014 still alive. But Andy Dunne, how?
I have no idea. Well, I mean, you've got to hand it to them, their bravery. You could argue they're foolhardy at times, but boy do they give it a go in terms of creativity and attack. They've run the ball on countless occasions from deep. They've turned the ball over in their own territory. But sometimes with high risk you get high reward. They've cut open Racing on a number of occasions. You could argue playing a safe game is the smart way to go against the Racing club, who like a game that's broken up, but they matched them at times and they raised them in terms of intensity in attack, in terms of passing out of the tackle, even though it seems at times there are Racing players who are masterful at that skill. It's pretty electric stuff to watch. There's a couple of guys have grown up there for Ulster today. Dave Shanahan springs to mind in particular as a 9 launched into a crucial European game. Didn't really put a foot wrong in 80 minutes and arguably was the one rock of sense in that Ulster side throughout. But I'm not sure that they deserve it, but I'm glad they won it.
They scored 3 tries and they lived really dangerously. Racing scored 4. They get the bonus point for that, and they get the bonus point for only losing by 4, so they take 2 points out of this one. They were 5 points ahead of Ulster at the top of the pool coming into tonight, but Ulster have kept their chances of reaching the knockout stages alive, because if they beat Leicester next week, you presume they'd be one of the best second place teams. That won't be an easy game, but at least they go into it with some hope. Simon Zebo went off for Racing. That was a bit of a turning point. For Ulster, they didn't kick particularly well until Addison took over that as well. Try and explain that second half if you possibly can.
Well, I suppose it's just the opposite to what we're used to seeing when we compare to the style of Irish play under Schmidt, or when we look at a very clinical Leinster side. We're looking at a Munster side with a bit more of a commanding presence now in their back row, with Stander, O'Mahony, Murray and Carberry, who's now really coming to the fore and hitting peak form. Ulster don't seem to have those pillars in their game. What they have is an ability to take on the opposition from anywhere, and they've got I suppose they've been given the license to by their coach, and he deserves huge credit for that for a guy in his first season. You can see there are so many areas that they need to tighten up, but often isn't that a greater place to come from when you're dealing with a side that if you can just try and tighten them up a little bit, it's far harder to make a side creative than it is to make a very creative side a bit more disciplined. And I think it's a great starting point for McFarlane to, looks like now, qualify, if not group winners, but certainly as one of the best runners up for knockout stages in Europe in his first season with a shallow enough Ulster squad relative to the Irish provinces.
Oisin, we'll let you go and go on. I was going to say we'll go and let you chat to the two coaches, and maybe we'll hear from them between now and 6 o'clock.
Yep, that's absolutely right, Nathan. Ulster have won here against Racing 92 by 26 points to 22. I think you can still hear the kind of shock and surprise and awe in my voice. This was an unbelievable occasion, and the story of this game, I think, is the story of Will Addison. He was absolutely fantastic, and I've no doubt we'll talk more to Andy about that. I'll get some reaction and be back in a while. Yeah,
Andy, stay there. We'll talk to you in one moment, but I want to go to the Amex Stadium because full time between Brighton and Liverpool. Let's hear about it.
Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Liverpool 1. It's finished. The Premier League leaders will return to Merseyside, having increased their advantage at the top to 7 points for a few days at least. Mohamed Salah with the only goal of the game early in the second half, winning and scoring a penalty after being brought down by Pascal Gross. Up until then, Albion had done well to frustrate the visitors, and though they were more of a threat after conceding, goalkeeper Alisson was never seriously tested, and Liverpool still had chances to increase their lead. Salah, Roberto Firmino and Wijnaldum all going close. It's finished here. Brighton 0, Liverpool 1.
Huge win for Jurgen Klopp's side, restores their 7-point lead at the top of the Premier League, though Manchester City do have a game in hand against Wolves at the Etihad Stadium on Monday night. Tottenham, they are now 9 points behind it. They're one of our 2 live games tomorrow. They are up against Manchester United at Wembley at 4:30. I'll be alongside Brian Kerr at that. We'll also have commentary of Everton against Bournemouth from 2:15. Kev will be alongside Stephen Doyle at Goodison Park. But let's go back to Kingspan Stadium up in Belfast, where the celebrations are continuing after Ulster inflicted the first defeat of the Heineken Champions Cup of the season on Racing 92. 26 points to 22. A exciting and tense final 10 minutes of that game, where really, Andy, it felt as though it could have gone anyway. Did Ulster, did they show some mettle in that last 10 minutes to withstand Racing, or was there a good element of luck that they actually held on?
A little bit of both. It was chaos, is the only way I could describe it. So they showed mettle and they showed courage. I mean, they threw their bodies on the line, they were physical, but it was disorganised chaos. It was bereft of any clear or clinical thinking, but it just showed a lot of character. And I mean, it was brilliant to watch, so absorbing to watch a game of rugby that is not predictable these days, and it was anything but. There were a side, I think, and a panel, Ulster, that lack significant depth relative to the other provinces, and I would have thought they'd be quite vulnerable today with the couple of injuries they had in the late withdrawal of John Cooney. But one guy who typified what they were about today was Dave Shanahan. He was probably one of their key players along with Will Addison in the back line. Geordie Murphy had some brilliant moments in the loose, probably in a more defensive setting than as opposed to maybe the attacking side he would be known for as well. But Shanahan was the one guy who's probably less experienced relative to a few of those around him, who showed some semblance of order and gave that Ulster side a little bit of shape. Now, I'm not one who constantly looks and appeals for shape in every game. Sometimes shape makes the game very, very predictable, but Ulster were the opposite end of the spectrum and lacked it in any form. They ran the ball from deep. They ran the ball on a number of occasions from literally underneath their own posts on the try line. They changed positional positions on a number of occasions off set piece, mixing around their first receiver, their 10, their centres, their fullback. They were inventive. They mimicked Joe Schmidt's starter play that we scored against the All Blacks, the famous try Stockdale scored. They
carbon copy.
Carbon copy, except off a scrum from midfield, but with a switch back down the left, and after that Stockdale somehow managed to do almost exactly the same thing for a second time.
I'm just after watching the replay of it, and in a way it looks as though there's an element of luck that the ball bounces in his favour, but the ball just seems to be constantly bouncing in his favour at the moment.
It's like your classic striker who happens to be in the right place at the right time. It's almost like he knew or had a sense that ball was going to bounce differently to the others, because he didn't halt his stride when the ball bounced in his favour. So there's something out there in the lap of the gods that's
Have you seen players who are just better than everybody else at reading the bounce of a ball? Do you think actually he has a higher ability than your average winger at when that ball is about to bounce?
I'm Not so sure. I think he's prepared to speculate more than others, and I think he's prepared. If that had gone the other way, he's running the opposite direction, and fortune favours the brave. And the one guy who I would have seen historically who was brilliant off a bouncing or breaking unpredictable ball was O'Driscoll, who seemed to actually cut open defences. If he got a normal pass, it was harder for him to break a line. Now Stockdale is a guy who's prepared to speculate and take a risk. He had so much work to do when he got the ball on the halfway line. He had the substitute winger for Racing. His name was Clemensac, who'd come on for Zebo, but he was right in his face, and Stockdale took him on, stood him up, got a yard outside him, handed him off very aggressively to the shoulder or face, cut through, left foot kick. Very reminiscent of that famous try now against the All Blacks, and then just, as I said, speculated on that bounce coming in field. Got a bit of luck and deserved it.
Yeah, a lot of wingers, a lot of players, most players I'd imagine in that situation, sort of your automatic instinct to slow down as you come towards the line and wait and see what happens and let it develop.
Yeah.
Whereas he doesn't seem to take a second thought. He just goes for it.
Yeah, again, you're probably thinking, we've chatted before, I had very wrongly questioned his capacity to create things for himself. Initially when I saw him as a winger, I thought, okay, a super finisher and a guy with great anticipation, but with work to do in front of him against defences, can he cut them open on his own? And he very much proved me wrong.
The answer is yes.
Yes, unequivocally and on a number of occasions. But it would be, I suppose, remiss not to mention some of the guys who were really central to the Ulster performance inside him. Most notably for me, probably Will Addison, maybe Irish Rugby's version of Declan Rice, but he's better at making decisions. He was superb today. He's kicking off both feet. He's evasive. He's a decision maker. He's a guy who's running balls from deep. He's a guy who's making his defensive reads well. He's making his tackles well. He's a really, really exciting prospect, and a guy who's very versatile. I'd say Schmidt, looking at a game like today, would have thought what a value this guy could add to an Irish squad in the World Cup at the tail end of this year.
Like he's 26, so even though he's fresh to a lot of people, he's an established player. He has a lot of experience. He's a lot of time with Sale under his belt. Yeah. So when you're looking, so you're talking World Cup squad, and that sort of versatility is a very good thing for a World Cup. But for this Six Nations, where could he possibly squeeze in?
I don't believe he's going to feature as a starter even in Joe Schmidt's thinking, but where I see him featuring is as a really useful, versatile backup player, subs bench player. He covers anything from 12 out, really. He can probably play both wings. He can certainly play 12 and 13 and fullback. He's kicking off both feet. He's the type of guy we might have seen in rugby 20-25 years ago, who's not overtly physical but has all the skills. Bit of a throwback, although he might give the likes of Joe Schmidt a heart attack or two. I mentioned if Joe had been watching that today and it was his Irish side, I'd say he'd had a heart attack. It was really, really it was madness, a lot of madness and chaos out in the field.
Yeah, a lot of running inside his own 22.
Yeah, but again, I think that's something that seems to be encouraged by the Ulster management. It's not only him. You look at Burns. Billy Burns seems to have a open country in front of him. You know, in terms of the decision-making processes, he's generally running the ball within his own 22 as opposed to kicking it, which again we don't tend to see a lot. So that's clearly a strategy that Ulster have adopted to try and break up games. So it's not Addison alone who's been the swashbuckler. It's the entire Ulster cause. They seem to embrace risk, and we talked about that before the game. But they were true to form, as were Racing, and hence this was a game of chaos.
Ulster then go to Leicester next weekend, needing to win that game to almost certainly ensure their place in the quarterfinals, probably as one of the best runners-up, unless Racing slip up. Like, Leicester are out of the tournament now, and it's not the daunting place it once was to go to. So I'd imagine you're fully expecting to go there and win that game well.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I'm haunted from my own career. I never won at Welford Road. I think I had 8 games there. Wow. So I naturally don't feel like I could ever say about anyone they'll go and win well in Welford Road. But the way the English Premiership sides are I suppose, displaying where they are in Europe at the moment. When you look at Gloucester last night against Munster, and the Gallagher Premiership, for all it's been talked up, I think the top 5 teams are in that Premiership. 4 of them are propping up the bottom of the European League table. So with Leicester with nothing to play for, and a Premiership game the following week, you would hope maybe that they'll not be too bothered about next week. I suppose a question here, but can Ulster go there, draw or lose with a bonus and still qualify?
Well, yeah, I think we're going to have to wait till the end of this weekend to figure out exactly what the permutations would be.
A lot of ramifications to come, yeah.
And also, I guess, you want to finish as high up, more than likely. If you were to finish as the bottom of the 3 qualifiers, you're probably away to Leinster.
Yeah.
In all likelihood, in a quarter-final, which, listen, maybe they wouldn't have a major problem with.
No, to be honest, I'll take the wrath of Ulster supporters here, and maybe I sound dismissive. They don't strike me as a team that have a chance of winning this competition.
Okay.
They strike me as a team that would, and maybe a home support here, that are delighted to get out of their group. Given where they've come from last season, to even qualify out of their group and just have a free cut off someone in a quarter final, I think would be a huge achievement. But they lack clarity. They lack. They're too flaky at times, I think, to be a real threat for any of the bigger sides in Europe. But yet again, I don't think anyone would be too keen to play against them. But for Ulster to have a free cut off someone in a quarter final, I think is a huge achievement.
I did want to ask you about that timeline of potential progress then for Ulster, because you were talking with Oisin at the end of the game about the freedom with which they play and the attacking style and the madness of some of the risks that they take, and maybe that it is, as a coach, easier to rein that in as time goes on. Is that this time next season we see the fruits of reining it in, or can it happen quicker than that?
I think it's probably a season-long thing. There are a number of factors at play. Dan McFarland is in his first season as a head coach. He's also a guy who would specialise in terms of the scrummage and the forward-oriented facets of play. So he's, I think, where Ulster's style it's derived from that Scottish style that Dan has been exposed to as a coach in the last couple of seasons. He's worked under Gregor Townsend in Glasgow. He's gone into the Scottish setup, and they've a very, very clear approach to how they want to play, and the Scottish side have improved at it and are going to be a real danger come the Six Nations. I think he's taken those that education he received over in Scotland, and he's brought it straight back in here and said, let's have a go. But it's not something that clicks into place very, very early. I mean, I've heard people talk about Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool in recent seasons, where the greatest part of their team was their attack, but they couldn't do the simpler parts of the defence. I think if you can shore up your defence and you can do the clinical things, the hardest part is to be an attacking threat, and Ulster have mastered that. They're a huge threat all over the field. Their line out didn't suffer in the absence of Henderson today. Their scrum didn't suffer, so they had a very, very good platform to attack. But then they were able to pass brilliantly off both sides with great width without players breaking stride, and they tested Racing, in all areas of the field. So to be that strong halfway into a season under McFarland in attack, I think is a huge plus. And all they need to do is probably just tighten the lid of the jar a little bit and just say, okay, now here are 1 or 2 moments in the game where we need to be less haphazard. I think there'd be a real force to be reckoned with, but I think it's something that's going to take a season at least.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the difficulties that actually McFarland faces as well when you look at the calendar and the progress that's been made this year, that when they finish up in May, he's probably going to lose Rory Best, Ian Henderson, Will Addison, Jacob Stockdale. I'll probably not see them again till Christmas.
Yeah, and I would imagine there's a huge amount of work going on in the background in terms of their recruitment for next year. They haven't had the success of other provinces in terms of who's come through their academy, but they've had glimpses of it. You saw young Robert Balakoon today from Fermanagh, who had a brilliant finish. He's come out of the sevens system, so they are being resourceful, and they are picking up guys from unexpected areas to come in and suddenly start in the European game that wouldn't have been anticipated a couple of months ago. So I think they again need to be applauded for that, being so resourceful. but I do think they're probably very, very active in the background in the recruitment drive for next year. They probably need one or two experienced pros, maybe from other leagues, maybe from down under, who as Leinster have used over the years and Munster have used when those Irish internationals get called away. Can you rely on guys who've come through the academy to turn up, have a low injury profile, manage your way through a Pro 14 difficult game away in the rain down in the Scarlet, something like that? You need, Ulster certainly need greater strength and depth come that summer period when McFarlane loses his top 6 or 7 players.
Let's hear from Jacob Stockdale. He's been talking to BT Sport.
Well, Jacob, that's Ulster taking a giant stride towards the first quarter-final in 5 years. You can see what it means to this crowd here. What does it mean to this group of players?
Look, this is a massive performance for us, and it's a massive achievement. We're really, really pleased, with how we played, and to topple a French giant like Racing is really something special. But that's the job only half done. Next week we've got Leicester away, and our eyes will be very much firmly set on that.
2 tries for yourself. That second one, which sent Ulster on their way a little bit. How relieved to get the bounce of the ball, because you didn't get it earlier on, did you?
No, unfortunately not. I think if I'd put any studs in, then maybe we would have got the first one. But no, like sometimes the ball sits up for you, sometimes it doesn't, and I was just lucky that it bounced pretty much real nicely for me.
You alluded to Racing 92's quality, and we saw tries for Dunne and Klemenchak in the second half. With the nerves jangling a little bit?
Yeah, look, whenever you give a team like Racing that kind of go forward and you start dropping off your tackles, they're always going to punish you, and look, credit to them, they played an incredibly good game, and they fought us every single minute of the game. But look, we're just happy to kind of get over the line and come away with a win.
2 tries for Jacob Stockdale. Ulster win by 26 points to 22 against Racing 92 and put themselves in a really good position to qualify for the quarter-finals. And looking at the results of the weekend, yet again, 4 wins from 4 for the Irish provinces. All 4 of them now in really strong positions to qualify for the knockout stages. Connacht this afternoon beat Sale by 20 points to 18. A late penalty from Dave Horwitz winning it for Connacht. It means they're level on points with Sale. And from what I can work out looking at the other groups, Connacht are away to Bordeaux next weekend. If they win that game, I'm fairly sure they're going to qualify either as group winners or as one of the best runners-up into the quarter-final of the Challenge Cup. Before we let you go, Andy, just a couple of quick words then on Leinster, Munster, Connacht. Starting last night with Munster and Joey Carberry, I don't want to say a coming-of-age performance, but 2 tries, 26 points, a 41-15 victory. This boy's the real deal.
Yeah, he is, in terms of talent. What I think though is the most significant stat is that he's kicked 17 place kicks out of 17 since the Castres game, and he's shown incredible resilience to do that mentally. We spoke after that Castres game, and I had mentioned in studio that his strike was really good, his run-up looked very rhythmical, but it was going wide, and nobody cares about that. When the end result with a place kick ain't between the posts, nobody cares. But there was a semblance of rhythm to his place kicking that I thought he would come through. Now, to come through with flying colours, with the next 17 place kicks out of 17 being nailed, to maintain his style, to have the calmness, the rhythm to strike and trust the process and do it with under pressure, in key games. He's now been the starting 10 in wins against Leinster, a European game over in Gloucester, and obviously that late Connacht win. So he's he is coming of age as a 10, because Irish rugby and Munster rugby tend to demand a guy that they can trust off the tee as a 10. Now, if he has clearly added that to his game. If he can remain as consistent at that, he is one of our most gifted and talented players around the field. And that play alone on the right hand side of a ruck, where he caught the ball, he managed to quick shuffle of the feet, but what he did was he read the defence right in front of him, changed his mind at the last minute and put in a left foot grubber kick. It was just incredibly smart play. It's the type of play that you rarely see players at this level have the capacity to do, to change their mind on the hoof, and he's got that style about him that looks, the game moves slightly slower for him, and it was huge to see him have tough for Leinster fans, but huge for everyone else to see him have such a commanding influence yesterday. In terms of Leinster,
just on before you leave Carberry then, and where he's going over the next few weeks. Johnny Sexton misses today's game with a calf injury. We're only 3 weeks away from the match against England. We want Johnny Sexton 100% by the time it comes to September in the World Cup. Is there any sense, do you think there's any possibility that Joe Schmidt decides, I'm not going to take a risk with Johnny Sexton, I'm going to give him another couple of weeks, even if it is England on the opening weekend of a Six Nations, that I can fully trust Joey Carbery, that actually I'm going to give him this game?
Well, I think Joey merits being trusted in a Six Nations game, and I think there's a lot of pragmatism in giving Johnny a break. Joe chose Joey to start the first test down in Australia, and we were leading when Joey went off the field, so he was well able for that challenge, and obviously we had a great series and we went on to win down in Australia, and Johnny started the second 2 tests, but it wasn't because we didn't lose the first test because Joey had an off day, and I think people have short memories about that. So he's done it already in a high intensity test match for Ireland, and he did it away from home down in Australia. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Joe Schmidt give Joe Carbery at least one start in the Six Nations. I think he's got to be he's got to manage it from a PR point of view, he's got to manage it from a Johnny Sexton point of view, and Johnny, the competitor that he is, will want to start all the Six Nations games, I'd have no doubt, and he would see it as a bit of a kick if he doesn't, but I think we've got to be pragmatic. If we don't win a Grand Slam or a championship this year and it benefits our cause in a World Cup, I don't think anyone's going to care. However, if we go out and hell for leather to win a Six Nations championship and lose 2 to 3 players on long-term 6-month injuries as a result, there's going to be a black cloud over everyone's head with a championship medal and a World Cup looming, as opposed to something that we look forward to.
So, talking of Leinster, we had the game live earlier on today. A bonus point win at home against Toulouse, 29-13. Jack Conan, Dave Carney, Sean Cronin, Adam Byrne scored the tries. This was a Leinster team that had 10 internationals through injury. And ahead of the game, a lot of the conversation was around Gary Ringrose and being the leader of that backline. And there's a lot of talk all the time about Ringrose and leadership, I think. They seem to want that in Leinster for him to step up, because I guess it'd be easy when you have Sexton, Henshaw, Carney around you, and you had Nasewa the last few years to just sort of blend in, whereas they really don't want that with Ringrose. And today was an opportunity for him to show that, and I don't know how much of the game you saw up there, but bloody hell, right from the very first take from the kickoff, he showed it.
Yeah, no, I saw the vast majority of the game here. They do things nicely up here in Ulster. We had a chicken and broccoli bake.
Oh, very good.
Hot tea and biscuits on a big screen for the Leinster game. So it was lovely and cosy.
Nothing for you to moan about.
No, not at all.
Lest the listeners ever forget that on the day that Ireland won the Grand Slam last year, you spent the entire match moaning about being cold.
Well, yeah, I got my wardrobe all wrong that day. Yeah, I wore a t-shirt.
So -8.
Yes, definitely. And I was donned in an English flag because a very maternal old lady behind me said she couldn't stand watching me shiver, so she gave me a Union Jack flag for our victorious Grand Slam. I'm glad there are no pictures out there of it. But yeah, I saw most of that. I saw the vast majority of the Leinster game. I think Ringrose, his leadership is something that has evolved, but I don't think it's an accident. It seems to be a big go-to point for Lancaster. He's big into leadership, shared responsibility in the group, and it would be easy for young guys like Ringrose to fall in behind, the likes of Nasewa and other senior pros that he's worked under and played with. But he showed a hunger for responsibility today, and where I bemoaned a few Ulster's weaknesses in terms of their strength and depth in a squad, Leinster have no such problems. They've incredible depth, and when you've got a guy like Lancaster, and I'm sure Cullen very similarly, who push responsibility onto young players and pressurise them and give them, I suppose, carte blanche to make decisions, and when they make them wrong, they're not overly chastised and they're given a chance to go out and repair it. I think it makes for a growth environment, and Leinster are showing that by how fast some of these secondary younger squad members are coming through and making a real play for starting in big games.
All right, Andy, great stuff. Thanks for that. Safe home.
Thanks, Nathan. It's nice to see Connacht also putting one up Steve Diamond.
Journalists of the world celebrate together.
Absolutely.
Have you come across Steve Diamond?
Oh, I have. I played against him as a player. He's abrasive as he looks. So lovely to see Connacht get a 2018 win.
Yeah, they grounded out in the end. They started that game blistering fashion, a couple of tries, went 17-0 up, but needed that late try. On points total, I don't think they're going to overhaul Sale to win that group, but it looks as though they're heading to the quarterfinals as well. So a good weekend all round.
Super weekend, yeah.
We will talk to you again during the week about it. Well, that for you, of course, that's the main thing, Andy.
Absolutely.
All right, Andy Dunne there up at Kingspan Stadium watching Ulster's 26-22 win over Racing. Leinster earlier on 29-13 winners over Toulouse, and Connacht beat Sale by 20 points to 18. As Andy mentioned, Liverpool back 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Mo Salah scored the only goal from the penalty spot early in the second half for a 1-0 win away at Brighton. Plenty of drama involving teams down the bottom. Burnley came from behind to beat Fulham by 2-1. Fulham went in front early on at Turf Moor through Andrew Shurla, but 2 own goals mean Fulham remain rooted inside the relegation zone. Joe Bryan and Dennis Adoyi within the space of 3 minutes in the first half, giving Burnley the win. Jeff Hendrick actually set up both of those goals for Burnley. It finished scoreless between Cardiff and Huddersfield. Huddersfield remain bottom. Cardiff also inside the relegation zone. On goal difference alone, that after Southampton got a crucial away win at Leicester City. It finished 2-1 in that game. Shane Long getting his first league goal of the season. A penalty for James Ward-Prowse as well for Southampton, who played the entire second half with 10 men after Jan Valeri was sent off just before the break. Wilfred Ndidi got one back for Leicester, but Southampton hung on to get the win that moves them out of the relegation zone, while Watford